live on Facebook now.
No, I have nothing to say.
Or do. I wanted to see if
drop
Pat was
in
going
right now.
we got the dewdrop in already. That's good. I was waiting for Pat to start singing In Sync again. That seemed very tantalizing.
No, we don't need that on the podcast.
That would have been a great welcome to the podcast this evening.
I was not singing In Sync. You have no proof of that.
And we do because Jeremy started recording before we went live on Facebook.
That's right. I can put that anywhere in the podcast. So.
No. It's all out.
And if you don't like it, then you can just there.
That reminds me. I'll be back in about 20 minutes.
Oh man. Welcome everybody to another lovely Saturday evening with us four jabronis. Yep. Talking about a lot of crazy bullshit. But hey, that's what we do. You four. I was about to say, how are you four guys doing? That was funny.
I mean,
it's actually just the three of you.
It is we are on a 2-game winning streak, Joe. I didn't think that would happen this year.
Yeah, that's an amazing feat. I mean, we played North Carolina, but I mean,
whenever we need a W each year, we just need to play North Carolina, apparently.
I mean, Mac Brown too. He loses all the time against us, so you know, it is what it is. I'll take the win though. Win's a win. It's college football.
Travis has played good both years against that specific North Carolina team.
Yeah. Yes, he has. Whoa. Bama's losing right now?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Oh, shit. It was like my eyes were deceiving me.
Yes, this bears watching as this podcast continues since they've just gone to halftime. Down 2 touchdowns to a team that, got roughed up the last 2 weeks.
I mean, Texas A&M has a good football team, but this might be a bad matchup for Bama, though.
Well, I mean, they lost by 10 points to Arkansas on a neutral field, and then Arkansas just went and had their asses handed to them, by Georgia, and then lost a shootout to Ole Miss today, which is that's fine, but they got embarrassed by Georgia last week, did Arkansas, and then A&M went and lost to friggin' Mississippi State last week, so I don't think too many people had them beating Bama today, but obviously an entire half of football to go, and Nick Saban is pretty good at making in-game adjustments. So.
There was definitely a few defense optional games earlier today.
I see there was some game that was like 49 to 42 or something like that?
Yeah. Oklahoma beat Texas 55-48.
That was the game. And
then Pat was talking about
that game was ridiculous.
And then Ole Miss and Arkansas. Ole Miss won 52-51.
Mm-hmm.
So that was Arkansas defense optional.
Arkansas lost when they scored a touchdown with, I think, 1 second to go, and they opted to go for 2 and didn't get it. But I will say I don't really disagree with going for 2 in that situation because it's a road game and everything. So you definitely kind of have to give the advantage to the home team in overtime. Mm-hmm. So I think going for 2 there wasn't really like a bad call. It just didn't work out. So
I mean, the coach for Oklahoma clearly made the right decision. I think it's hilarious that the front runner for the Heisman at the beginning of the year got benched today.
Well, yeah, that's something I was going to mention. It seems like a lot of these guys who I saw pegged as in early mock drafts as like the first few quarterbacks to be taken, not really performing so far this year, whether it's Rattler, whether it's Sam Howell, a couple other guys, not exactly like lighting up the stat sheets or inspiring much confidence that they should be like some top 10 quarterback pick in, come April. So
no,
yeah, it was very interesting to see. And it was weird that they put him back in for like a 2-point conversion attempt, which I believe they converted.
Yeah.
But then they went back. To the freshman. And the other interesting thing about that freshman quarterback for Oklahoma, they mentioned during the broadcast, he didn't play last year because of COVID. Like his season got totally canceled. So think about that. It's a guy basically hasn't played football in 2 years, and when he last played, it was high school football. coming
Wow.
into a game like this. So I thought that was a pretty interesting little thing that they mentioned.
Geez, Georgia's beating up on Auburn. Okay,
I like
Georgia's a beast this year.
I like the fact that did you say one guy's last name is Rattler?
Yes.
Yes,
Mhm.
Spencer Rattler. He's the Oklahoma quarterback.
Like the GI Joe Rattler. Oh, I thought you was going the GI Joe way. As you could tell, everyone, Jeremy's got sound effects this evening, so
Yes.
you'll get a fair share of those during the course of the evening.
Well, yeah. So I see Georgia handled Auburn pretty easily. So even if Bama comes back and wins, I think you slide Georgia into the prohibitive favorite line now.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
And it'll be Alabama. Well, it'll be if Alabama comes back, it'll be Georgia, Alabama, Iowa, and Cincinnati might be the top 4 then, right?
If Alabama wins, the top 4 tomorrow will definitely be Alabama, Georgia, Iowa, Cincinnati. Yeah. And Oklahoma will be there at 5, and then Ohio State probably.
This is what Oklahoma's going to do. They're going to squeak by every other week, and they're going to get in the playoff and get their ass kicked again.
Most likely, yes.
Very, very possible, yeah, because I don't really think much of the Big 12, so I don't know.
Neither do they. That's why they're going to a different conference.
Yeah.
Well, right, but what I'm saying is they're not really going to be challenged the rest of the year. The rest of their schedule is TCU, Kansas, Texas Tech, Baylor, Iowa State, and Oklahoma State. Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, and
there's not a lot of prestige on that schedule. So
yeah, Oklahoma State though, Bedlam is Bedlam. You never know. That's one of those games where sometimes the best team doesn't win.
Yeah.
Well, that's definitely the best team remaining on their schedule. Sorry, Jeremy.
You were saying, Jeremy, you wanted to chime in?
It's okay. Well, and see, that's the thing. Well, it's one of those things. Like record means something to a degree, but you also got to think like when they're doing these rankings, when they're doing the what is it, the BCS rankings, right?
No, it's just for the playoff now.
Yeah, it's playoff.
Yeah, it's the college football. BCS doesn't exist anymore.
Okay, so well, it used to be the BCS. Now it's just a playoff ranking. I wasn't sure if they kept the initials the same, but anyways. So when they're ranking for the playoffs now, they just, and it's always been this way. You just can't go on like, did you win? It's also who did you play and how much did you win by? Like if you're playing some shit teams, like like you said, Oklahoma is coming up, especially now on their schedule. Like, yeah, they should win those games, but they should also, most of those games should be blowouts. Like they shouldn't even be close because of how good Oklahoma should be, And so if they go into the playoffs again this year, like you said, AJ, and they get their ass kicked, well, then they probably didn't deserve to be as high ranked in the playoffs rankings to begin with.
No,
they take those things into consideration.
I would like to think they do, and I believe they do, but I also think that sometimes based on just the team that it is and the lineage and how good they've been for how long, maybe that plays a little bit of a role too. Because I mean, when's the last time you can remember Oklahoma being honest? When's the last time you can remember Oklahoma not having a winning season and having like a good amount of wins, like that they weren't a pretty dominant team by schedule, by win-loss ratio?
Yeah,
I honestly can't think of it.
The Big 12 just doesn't like to play defense. I feel like they just they get all the
defense optional in that conference.
Yeah, I just they recruit just like, okay, you're pretty good. You're not a top 50 high school player, but you're in the top 100. You're like number 92. We'll take you on your team.
Number 92.
I feel that's how they recruit. They give two shits about defense. They fill the defensive side, so they have a defensive side that looks good, but gets torched every week, and have games that average 30-some to 40-some points a game for each team, and it's just kind of, it's cool to a certain extent. It's like you're playing Madden and shit, but at the same point, it's kind of like, God, geez, fucking interception in and out of your hands, like can't penetrate the offensive line. It's just horrible to watch sometimes in regards to that aspect.
Right. Would you say the SEC is different though? Are they more defensive oriented, or are they more of a balanced conference?
They're more balanced. They've been the best conference in college football for like 15 years.
Right. Yeah. I'm very well aware of how good that conference is.
There's a lot of
They're really balanced.
that are capable of lighting up the scoreboard in the SEC, but there's definitely more defense played in the SEC than the Big 12, at least over the last several years.
Yeah. See, I just don't see a lot of SEC games, so that's why I was asking that question, because I know you guys, especially with my Florida State fans,
No, they're in the ACC.
Oh, they're in what?
The ACC.
Oh, the ACC.
But the South has a lot of big kids, big talented kids, like big kids that look like they could play in the NFL right now type of kids. And that's who the SEC usually gets the majority of those teams when they're recruiting for defense. Yeah. So they like to play the more pro style defenses, and those kids are always ready when they go to the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much how it kind of works out.
Now, I know with the Big Ten, normally it is more defensive oriented than offensive oriented, except for some schools. Some schools are definitely have a much better offense and a good defense too. But I feel like the Big Ten is very much more defense, because you don't see the super high scoring games. You do see high scoring games occasionally, just not as often.
Unfortunately, the Buckeyes do score a lot of points.
Yeah, and I said that there are certain colleges, yeah. And I didn't want to talk about the Buckeyes, but
he wasn't trying to bring up them by name. He was trying to leave the name out of it.
That's something that I think has been changing a little bit over the last several years too. Like the Big Ten has been getting some, better athletes and everything, but they're also a cold weather conference compared to really all the other Big Five conferences in a lot of ways. So true. that's always kind of like the stereotype, I guess you could say, of the Big Ten, that they're more defensive minded because they play like into colder weather, into November and everything, and so it gets harder to run some of those like offenses and this and that. But I think some of that's changed recently, and it's also become kind of a lazy stereotype too.
Yeah, agree.
It's and I think it's something that's also perpetuated by people who just want to thumb their nose at the Big Ten. And I'm not trying to stick up for the Big Ten, because I really give a shit about the Big Ten. Being a fan of a team that's in the conference, I pretty much hate every other team that's in the conference. And I don't go root for the conference in bowl season just because they're playing an SEC team, because again, I don't give a shit. But that's something that I think has changed. But like the traditional thing would be like, oh yeah, the Big Ten, that's where they play the 13 to 10 games all the time. So and all they can do is play that 80s style run up the middle offense. So
I don't like the conference. I'm like you, Pat. I like Florida State. Fuck the rest of the ACC. I fuck all of them. So I don't root for them necessarily in bowl season either. I do think it's funny though, because my brother always wants to argue with me. I don't like any conference, but the SEC has been the best conference in college football this century. And he always wants to argue with me, and he's like, maybe there's no best conference. I'm like, there has to be a best conference. And it's the SEC. I'm like, they've got 9 national titles in this century, or however many. Nobody's even close to that. So, and he's a Big Ten person. So he's trying to convince me that the Big Ten's better than the SEC. And I'm like, that's not going to happen.
No, I would have a tendency to disagree. Yeah. I'd have
they might be the second best. The Big Ten might be the second best conference. They might be. So I think in this century, it would probably be the Big Ten or the ACC. It just depends on what season. But I just think it's funny when he's like, "Oh, maybe there isn't a best conference." And I'm like, "Well, there has to be."
Oh, and it clearly is.
It's the SEC because they keep winning national titles, and that's all you really need to base it on.
Yeah, no, true. I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer, not for anybody to kind of argue that towards any other conference within the college football league demographic, it's just kind of silly.
And granted, Alabama's won a lot of those, but Florida won some, LSU won one, Auburn won one. So that it's not just one team either. Right. It's multiple teams have won them. So you can't just be like, well, Alabama won them all. They didn't. I think it's 4 or 5 teams from that conference that won a championship in this century. So you can't even just say it's one He always tries to tell me they're top heavy, and I'm like, most conferences are top heavy. So like the best
Pretty
teams
much.
are, and there's shitty teams at the bottom of every conference. So hey, the shittiest team in the Big Ten is better than the shittiest team in the SEC. So I guess the Big Ten's better than the SEC. That's the kind of logic he'll spew at me probably.
That's such dumb logic, really.
I know it is, but I'm picking. My brother's not here to defend himself, but I'm picking on him because I've gotten in that argument with him multiple times, and I'm just like, Ned, this argument's over. I just said, how many national titles do you have? 1. Shut up, then.
And nobody cares if Rutgers is better than Vanderbilt.
Oh my God, Rutgers.
Nope, not at all.
And I don't like Saban. I don't like Alabama. I'm not defending them, but you can't not respect them. The guy wins. He gets the best recruiting class, and they keep fucking winning. So, like, at what point do you like? It's the same things happen with everybody with Tom Brady. None of us necessarily like him, but at what point do you have to start saying, "All right, this guy's fucking good at what he does," and that's it?
Right. Like, and this was that one. That was like a conversation I had with my dad the first time a couple years ago. I said, gee, do you have to start kind of thinking that maybe Nick Saban deserves consideration for being the greatest college football coach of all time? And I was like, you're going to have all the old school people who are going to talk about Bear Bryant or, this guy or that guy and everything. And I'll be like, yeah, but isn't it harder to win now for so many reasons? So it's like, you got to take those things into consideration. I think a lot of people want to dismiss that because, and, I found myself doing that too in certain arguments about things like, no, the things that were the best when I grew up are the things that are the best. And it's always going to be that way. It's like, well, it's not really always that way.
No, not all the time. See, my aspect on the bowl season is like, I'm a Big Ten guy and an ACC guy, but when it comes to bowl season, I kind of root for the other Big Ten teams just so we have a good bowl season. So it makes the conference look better the following year per se, or it makes the conference look good ending that season and kind of going into the next season, especially if, if they lose to shitty teams that are like 5 and 6 that don't deserve to be in a bowl game. That's pretty shitty. So you don't want them to lose, except for Ohio State. They can lose all day fucking long every year. I can care less about them. But I just kind of, that's my kind of aspect in regards to that. There are some teams in the ACC I can give 2 shits about too, but it's kind of like more of a conference thing because it kind of helps your conference look better. So if you have a team that's in the top 25, then going into the next season, then it kind of works in your favor per se.
It's funny because I hate the Big Ten, so I root against the Big Ten. That's the one conference I don't cheer for. I want all of them to lose.
Like my dad hates the SEC so much so that whenever it's like a Big Ten versus SEC matchup, he'll always be rooting for the Big Ten team. And I'm like, yeah, sorry, Dad, but when Michigan goes to play Florida in the Citrus Bowl, I'm not rooting for fucking Michigan. I said, I'm not rooting for Florida, but I sure as shit am not rooting for Michigan.
That's a drop a bomb game, Pat. That's a drop a bomb on the stadium game. So
yeah, that's the Darth Pat special game. And I'm like, turns, when the way that most college football seasons work out,
there's a lot of SEC Big Ten teams playing each other in bowl games.
Right, but just like most bowl games by default are games like that. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a Big Ten team against an SEC team. There's so many teams I just don't like.
I mean, there's definitely so many teams I don't like either. So,
well, for you, it's more like not like. It's more flipping to the hatred side.
Well, whatever.
Teams.
Whatever. Once again, me and Joe just discussed this about wrestlers the other day. I said a lot of you guys kind of fall in the middle where you don't like and hate so much. I said me and my friend Jay definitely like and we hate. Like we hate wrestlers. Most of you guys don't like somebody.
Indifferent.
It doesn't go to that hatred stage like it does for like me and Jay, where we're like, fuck this person. We don't like this person. That's it. So.
Yes.
I still think indifference is worse than hatred when it comes to wrestlers, but that's another story.
Look at this one. She got a haircut, so now she looks like a rat.
Oh,
jeez, that's definitely a short haircut. Hence, she definitely looks like a rat.
Fluffball to rat.
She's probably like, "Hey, everybody, I can see now. This is awesome."
Yes.
I feel like my dog gets like that. Because there's times like he looks at me and I'm like, I can see his one eyeball, but his hair is like I can't see the other one. I'm like, damn, maybe time for a haircut for that poor little dude.
When Vader gets we don't get him cut as short as Muffin. So
we had to do that a lot with our older dogs, not Sherlock, who passed away 2 years ago, but the dogs we had before that, like they were like the Yorkies that had like the bangs that would grow in front of their eyes every so often. My mother would be like, "Well, it's not time to groom him yet, but I got to get that hair out of his eyes. Pat, grab a hold of him. I'm going to trim him."
Oh yeah, that's not so much fun sometimes.
Oh no, because they don't like that being done. So you got to basically hold their front paws down, so they're not like going. Oh,
yeah, my dog Anakin, he hates that with a passion. Don't just get away from my face. Doesn't matter. You can give him treats all day long, and he'll snag the treats and run from you, or just cover his face up in the carpet, and so you can't cut his eye hair around his eyes for him.
Yeah,
but let's get to that point.
When you were like, it's going to happen. I thought you could have been referring to baseball too, because I'm afraid of the Astros and the Red Sox playing in the ALCS. That's a nightmare.
Those fucking Astros. I
mean, I'm not paying attention really so much because I'm in my annual pissed off that the Yankees failed again mood. But I don't know. We remember us talking last week about Tony La Russa, and somebody was pointing out, I don't remember where it was now, was pointing out some comment he made, I think after they lost yesterday, which sounded like it just made no sense, but I don't remember where I saw it or who pointed it out, so I can't like go and find it to oh, here it was. Yeah, this was yesterday's game. Tony La Russa on Michael Kopech. If we had needed him to win the game today, we would have pitched him.
I heard that and I lost my fucking mind, Pat. Like you guys were tied.
Lost yesterday, so why?
It made no sense to me. Your game is tied 4-4 in the seventh inning, and I was losing my shit when they brought in the other guy, and I'm like, why would you do that? And they just gave up fucking 5 runs, and I baffled me. Fucking baffled me. You got a flamethrower that strikes almost every other batter out, but yet you bring in a left-hander who they're hitting off of. All the left-handers are hitting off left-handers for Houston. Yeah, we give up 5 runs.
What the hell happened to Pat? Is he so distraught by the Yankees game that he's left the building?
He said he'd be back in the second. I heard him say that.
He had to
maybe he had to go take
check in. Well, yeah, or he had to check in on his new Inquisitors. I don't know. His new batch of Inquisitors from the dark side. Who knows? It's all good.
You might have to actually make the fart noise, and it might apply when he comes and sits back down.
I do say this: if the White Sox are not able to come back and beat Houston, I will be rooting for San Francisco and Chris Bryant to have a good playoffs, because I watched part of that game.
I'm already rooting for San Francisco. So
he crushed a home run, and I'm like, fuck. So yeah, there was one of my friends sent me a meme that said about the ex-Cubs players that were traded this year that are in the playoffs. Jock Peterson hit a home run. Anthony Rizzo hit a home run. Kyle Schwarber hit a home run. Chris Bryant hit a home run. And I'm like, fuck you. Take your meme and shove it straight up your ass, because I don't want to see that shit right now. Because yes, I know. I fucking paid attention. It's heartbreaking, but it is what it is. Got rolled the punches with that. That's what sports is about, I guess. But basketball and hockey's around the corner, so that's good.
Oh, is that what we're going to be excited about now?
Hey, I'm stoked for the Bulls season. I've seen their 2 preseason games. Sorry, I know it's preseason, but they're showing promise. So let's see how well it goes. Oh, speaking of basketball, so Matt, I'm AJ. I didn't know if you saw this, but they have like a 75th anniversary commercial the NBA did, and they left off the Warriors and Michael Jordan.
Really?
Yeah, there were some people like pissed off complaining about it. Where
Wow.
I guess they were pissed because like no Jordan, like no Bulls, 90s Bulls.
And no Warriors?
Nothing with the Warriors, Steph Curry, and there were some other players that they left out on some teams, and people are like throwing a fit. But they were like, who was it? They had I think they had something with James Harden and some other people, and it's like, man, what are you guys doing? Let me see if I can find the commercial.
I'm working on it.
Is there is not a bigger piece of shit in all of sports than Kyrie Irving right now.
Here we go.
I got it. I got it up. Don't.
Okay, go ahead. Go for it.
Right.
You got it. I haven't seen the whole thing, so I was just seeing people.
They're supposed to do some like all-time 75th anniversary team this year too.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Come on, hop on.
Michael B. Jordan.
It's the NBA 75th. All right, guys.
I take Michael B. Jordan.
Get ready to take a stroll down memory lane. Don't get left behind. It's all about the brotherhood here.
Good morning, neighbor. Top of the morning.
But also,
This is my house.
claiming what's rightfully yours.
This is my house.
Hey, seatbelts on, seatbelts.
Hey, Spider!
What's up, Russ?
Okay, he's
Take notes, kids. Flyers dressed in the NBA. Around here,
fucking
it's
Russell.
never too late to
Really?
learn a new trick.
What you want to do is get it off your fingertips.
From the sky hook
That's right.
all the way.
That motherfucker don't need to be in the commercial.
Oh,
him.
down, big man. Good pass.
They don't need to put.
I mean, Zach Levine's in it, so I'm cool with that. But still,
They
Zach
didn't need to-
Levine doesn't really need to be in it yet either.
Yeah.
no.
That was an instant classic. This community right here stretches to every corner of the globe.
The globe doesn't have corners.
You know what I mean.
Big Top Up!
We've come a long way from the peach basket.
Nice.
My bad.
He does not need to be in it either.
Yeah, let's throw Zion in it. Robert Horry.
PP.
Not again.
Where you think you going?
Gary Payton. I'm cool with.
Gary,
You can't get by me.
they call him the glove. This is what he does. Even nicknames take on a life of their own.
Somebody call the doctor?
Is that who I think it is?
This league is full of game changers. When it comes to legends, the NBA's got more than its fair share.
And I ain't finished yet.
That's what I like to hear. Some things are bigger than basketball.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yes.
Absolutely. That's
Now we've
That's
seen
awesome.
kids turn into kings.
No.
Oh my God, he's playing his
There's a
card.
piece
It's
of
so
this game for
stupid.
everyone. It doesn't matter who you are, how old you are, or
Zach Levine and Benny the
Yeah,
Bull.
that too.
That's
your move. Now that's just
All right,
fun.
little Penny. Why I'm under you.
Nice ride, Zeke. Hello.
oh God.
Really, Isaiah Thomas?
He's
I know he's deserving, but come
He's a
on.
legend, so I get it. I'm just
I get it
screaming
too.
sad. I don't like Isaiah.
Fit is clean.
He's a Chicago guy.
It's been 75 seasons and counting.
Oh, they had Jordan there.
no, there's Curry and stuff.
Okay.
There's
Yeah, what
There
Jordan.
might there might have been a different commercial. There might have been a shorter one.
Yeah, they could have.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll have to
this
go
is a long one.
They could have a shorter one. This might be the
One thing's
official
for certain.
one now.
This game just
But see,
keeps
that's kind of
getting
shitty though. Like
Game don't stop. It
2
won't
seconds.
stop.
All right, so now we're gonna break down this commercial. We're gonna break this
Please?
motherfucker down.
Did we not? I don't think we saw Tim Duncan, right?
No, we didn't see Tim Duncan. We didn't see David Robinson. There's a lot of people, but there's so many freaking NBA stars and shit like
But
that. So
that's the thing, though. Where's Tim Duncan instead of Zach Levine or one of those newer guys? Where's Tim
Yeah.
Duncan or where's Kevin Garnett? Those like this one should be paying homage to the past, not guys who are going to be on that commercial 15 or 20 years from now. So
My best guess would be that they didn't agree to participate.
I mean, that they may not have, but
yeah,
scheduling things for that stuff.
no
Shaq.
Shaq. I mean, to me, Shaq, like,
Yeah.
Barkley, there's some guys that like.
There was no Shaq in that commercial.
nope.
No.
Shaq doesn't say no to anything.
He's
Pretty
like,
much.
free cheeseburger. That sounds good.
Free pizza for sure. I'm in.
He went and endorsed a pizza company who
That's
fired
right,
their
Shaq-a-roni.
founder who fired their founder and CEO for making racist comments. So it's like,
it's we can pick it apart. To me, that should have been all people who are like in the tail end of their career who are already retired. I feel like putting the newbies in there. I mean, Devin Booker doing the thing to Kobe, that's fine because that was a Kobe. But like Carmelo was on there. I don't think Carmelo. Like there were guys on there who not even ever played in the finals. Like I don't like the newbies being mixed in with the old people. I think it should have been all people. Really, they should have went and got all people that are going to be on that 75th anniversary team or whatever. Like,
well, I was gonna say it sounded to me like one of those connecting the past to the present.
It is. That's what a commercial is.
So you want some present stars to be in there, in order because shit. I mean, there are guys are gonna be actually playing the fucking games. Everybody's gonna be tuning in to watch. So that's why they want current players in there. But I'm one of those nostalgia guys. So it's like, I would have probably preferred to see more players in the past in it. Of course, I'm also a little with the Kobe worship. So
Tim Duncan, like, should have been on there though. Like, to me, that's the guy they missed the bust with. Like, if he agreed to not do it, if we find out that's why. But
I mean, that wouldn't surprise me at all because he always seems to be the kind of guy who doesn't really.
Well, yeah,
he's somebody who never really like fully embraced like the
superstardom of being a player.
Well,
he's private.
He wasn't like the Randy Savage, and I think the spotlight should go on top of me.
Right. I mean, in his Hall of Fame speech, he said he was more nervous than when he was like making free throws in the NBA final. So like, but still, he's the glaring miss to me.
Yeah, because they could have just put a highlight of him in like they did with Jordan and Steph.
Right. So he's the glaring omission to me.
I'm sorry. If you're gonna put a image of Jordan, fuck the goddamn free throw slam dunk. You have the game-winning shot in the face of Brian Russell in Game 6. That's what you put on there for Jordan. Fuck
no, man.
Slam dunk was cool, but come on, man. If you're gonna put anything, game-winning shot right there.
How many times have we seen highlights? So how many times have we seen a highlight of Jordan and like the very first thing that they show on like the highlight reel is that damn dunk? Like almost everybody puts that up there. Not to say that it's not impressive. Just a second.
Not a lot of people can do it, but
I'm just saying that to me that kind of always struck me as being like the signature Jordan highlight. So that's the whole thing.
I mean, that's his logo too, technically speaking. For his
to me, I guess for me though, the signature Jordan highlight was always that one where he was like going up for the layup and then he did
the Gatorade commercial one against the Lakers.
Against the Lakers, up and under.
Yeah, to me that was kind of always the signature Jordan highlight. But
yeah, that was super popular.
Actually, to me, the signature Jordan highlight was when he made the shot in the '82 championship game.
It's more of a signature highlight if you were actually watching it when it happened.
Yeah, I know. I'm just being
throwing North Carolina shit in there.
Yes, exactly.
All right, so I gotta play you guys something because thinking about dunks and stuff like that, and let me see if this is if this is what I want.
Is this a dunk?
Yeah, this is what I want. Okay, good.
Is this a dunk?
Yeah,
I gotta see this.
Yeah, this drives me bananas because at some point in time this became, because I believe it was Dwight Howard that made this kind of dunking per se popular, But so I need, since we are old school basketball mofos here, I need to know what you guys think of the supposed dunks.
Is this a dunk?
No. Because all they're doing is throwing it in the hoop.
I mean, it wasn't playing very fluidly for me. But I'm guessing
that's all right. Dunk. Let me
was it that they were just, well, no. Was it just that they were jumping above the rim?
Yes.
And then just basically throwing it in the hoop?
Dunk?
Yeah.
Because then no, it's not a dunk. You have to touch the rim for it to be a dunk.
I mean, Dwight Howard did it one time, really, in the dunk contest. Like, there was really one time where he did it where it was like obvious. So, right. But that was also that dunk contest with Dwight Howard that one year. Like, I don't like Dwight Howard. I can't stand it. But that dunk contest that year, I think he got 50s on every dunk, and the dunks were good. Like that last one, I think the last one he made in that dunk contest was like that one where he almost didn't really dunk it. But that's the dunk contest I remember. Mm-hmm. All these, I hate Vince Carter. All these people remember Vince Carter. Fuck Vince Carter. So I don't remember that dunk contest. That seems to be the one everybody else wants to remember. I actually remember Dwight Howard is the one. Wow. The one I really remember is the Dominique Jordan one, where I'm going to piss Joe off here because Dominique should have won that dunk contest. And I like Jordan. I think Jordan is the greatest dunker of all time. Like, I would take Jordan hands down. But I think Dominique should have won that dunk contest. And I it's not because I like Dominique. I like Jordan better. That's a completely unbiased take on that. If they were doing that dunk contest anywhere other than Chicago, I think Dominique would have won. So there was a little bit of home cooking going on that night. It's okay. But I think there was a little bit of home cooking going on that night.
When I think of dunk contests, I think of Spud Webb and Cedric Ceballos with the blindfold
that he could see through.
The D Brown dunk too.
The D Brown
through the hoop. Yeah.
So and the reason I bring that up is because I saw this. It came through, because TikTok now somehow gets feeds on Facebook. I don't know if Facebook bought TikTok or not. I don't know what the hell happened.
No, but it's like I see it's on that Reels under Reels on Facebook.
So that popped up on Reels, and I'm watching this. I'm like, that is not a goddamn, like, he's not even touching the rim. He's like a foot and a half away from the rim. Like, that can't be considered a dunk. And people are like, oh yeah, that's a dunk. That's the new dunk. I'm like, no, that's not a dunk.
Fuck that new dunk shit.
Like, that's not you guys not touching the rim. And I want to say most of those guys that are doing that probably could, but that is, to me, it looks like an angry throw.
It is.
Or an angry layup, or I don't know what you call it, but it sure the hell is not a dunk. A dunk means your hand actually touches the rim and you throw the ball straight down the hoop, not on an angle to the hoop.
Touch the rim in some manner. That I might give you that it's a dunk. That's not a dunk. Not in my book.
Right. No. Even if it was their fingertips, I'll give it to them if their fingertips touch the rim, but they're still even with their hands extended all the way, it's like it's at least 6 or more inches. Yeah. What?
Sorry. No, I was gonna say, this is a new generation. We're taking back what the dunk means.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Let's just change the meaning of this word so it fits what we want it to be.
Pretty much, like a lot of other stuff. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I was laughing.
It's like I'm all for being, progressive and trying to be with times and everything, but it's like, no, there's a certain line I'm not going to cross, and I'm not going to acknowledge something like that as a dunk. I'm sorry.
No, definitely not.
Yeah,
that was all. Crazy. That is funny though, because I watch it's on Facebook. I think it's called Baller's Life.
Oh yeah, Baller's Life. Yeah,
Baller's Life, whatever. I like watching that because that's the one that has the guy who has like half an arm. I think his left arm is amputated up to his elbow. I think it is. Dude can ball though. Dude can straight ball. I like watching those guys because I just like it's funny when they go to all these different courts and people trash talk them because they think they're shit and they got a guy with an amputated arm and they go in there and they just fucking whoop everyone's ass. But it's funny. I've seen dunks like that in there too, and the crowd goes wild, and I'm like, he was angry and he angry tossed the ball by jumping over the hoop by a foot. That's not really that impressive. It's not a dunk, people.
I think I'll refrain from demeaning anybody, but I think people are easily excited because they themselves cannot do these things. So when they see somebody do something that they're not able to do, it's like, oh my God, it was so awesome. It was the most amazing thing. It's like a kid when they cross somebody up and or go behind the back or they throw it between their legs and then they miss the shot. They're like, oh man, I'm so awesome. Like, no, it's not awesome because you didn't make the shot.
Like that
the
guy
shot
that
matters.
Throw the ball over the backboard with Joe.
Yeah.
That time that tried to throw the ball off the backboard and threw it over it.
Yeah. Like the only thing
the dude
that matters,
couldn't even dunk and he was trying to do something stupid.
Yeah. The only thing that matters is if you finish. If you didn't finish, I don't care how cool it looked. It sucks ass.
When Pat was gone, I did say that Kyrie Irving is the biggest piece of shit in all of sports right now. That guy, like, recruited Kevin Durant to come play there, and now Kyrie's not going to play because he doesn't want to get vaccinated. What a piece of shit.
Yeah, well, speaking of vaccinations, I will be getting vaccinated because I just got word from my work because of the contracts that we work on. I have to. I don't want to say I don't have a choice, but the choice that I have does not leave me with the possibility of retaining my job. So, and I don't make millions of dollars like these guys, so I can't really just afford to up and jump off my job and, go on hiatus for my principles.
So none of us do, unfortunately.
So I will be going to get that done just so I can maintain my job and not have any problems with that. So,
do you know which one you're getting?
I'm going to get the Johnson & Johnson.
So just the single. Okay.
So
yeah, I'm just. If I'm going to get a shot, I want it once. I don't want to have to go back in 2 weeks and get another one. And I don't have any problem with needles. I just don't need to go get it twice. Like once is good,
I mean, ask him to put some Johnson & Johnson powder on it afterwards, to make it nice and soothing for you.
It's barely a needle. I mean, so
it wasn't bad. It definitely was like the first time I was like shitting my pants, and then I'm like the second time it was like not bad. I was scared to death. So
hey, some people like needles, don't mind. I don't care about needles. Don't bother me, and it bothers a lot. I know several people needles scares the shit out of them. So hey, this is what it is.
Well, from my own personal experience, like way back in the day, so like when I was around 10 years ago.
Jesus, Pat. What did you eat?
Oh, Jerry's gonna take this out of control now. I can see it coming.
Look at his expression. It was worth it. It was worth it just for that.
It was supposed to be when Matt was talking about shitting his pants, but I can't get to it fast enough to do it.
That's what she said.
Anyway. Oh, look at that. Alabama just blocked a punt for a touchdown. They'll probably be winning pretty soon. They're still down 7. Anyway, back when I was a kid, my mother, my allergies were so bad that my mother had me get like allergy shots. So I had to go to like the doctor's office. I had to go to the doctor's office like almost every week to get these shots. The needles were like this fucking long.
Yes, they were.
And they would jam you. They had to jam me in each arm. So I'd be walking out of the freaking doctor's office holding like my inner arms like this because I'm holding the gauze pads on the spots where, they would stick me and everything. So no, I'm not like afraid of needles. I just hated that experience going through it. So I never would get a flu shot. Then a couple of years ago, my doctor's like, you should really start getting a flu shot because of your other issues. I said, all right, fine, if it's not going to cost me anything. So then like the nurse comes in with the flu shot. She swabs it or like so prick. I'm like, I went, wait, that was it? She goes, yeah. And I went, but that's all a flu shot is now? She goes, yeah. It was like
pretty much.
I don't know. I just was like, So
Yeah, needle's like this long.
Nothing
crazy.
The whole reason I never got a flu shot was because I just didn't want them sticking me with, like, the 10-inch long needle, and it was like, no, that's not the way it is anymore. So it's like, oh, no, fuck it. I guess I'll get a flu shot from now on.
We had this.
The needle was like that, 10 inches. Like Jesus.
When you're a kid, when you're a kid of like 8, 9, or 10 years old, everything seems, you exaggerate everything like that.
But when you're like 5 or 6, getting needles stuck in your arm, and you look at it, you're like, "What the fuck is that thing you're about to put in me?" Yeah.
Oh my God! Texas A&M took the ensuing kickoff back for a touchdown, so they're back up 2 touchdowns again. Still a lot of time left.
There was a guy that came in the store with his girlfriend today, and I could tell he was a douchebag as soon as he walked in.
Yeah,
I love those people.
And he was like, they were looking around, and then the twat was like, "Oh!"
He was a douchebag.
He's like, you said the twat was like, "Oh!"
I think that worked perfectly.
Perfect.
That worked perfect
because he said the T word, and you hit it for right when he said that.
So,
that's awesome.
she was like, are the shoes buy one, get one half off? I'm like, no, the shoes aren't buy one, get one half off right now. So she looked at her boyfriend and she's like, all right, we're going to go to Shoe Carnival. And I wanted to be like, bitch, there's not even a Shoe Carnival in here. So good luck finding that. But I didn't say anything because she was not nice. They were not nice. I could tell they were mad walking out the door. And all I did was say, ma'am, the shoes aren't buy one, get one half off. I'm not going to make them buy one, get one half off just for you. So they left. And then about 10 minutes later, they came back in. And I'm like, oh, this ought to be interesting. And the douchebag's like, did you guys find a wallet or a phone? I'm like, no. So he's looking everywhere for the wallet and the phone. And I could tell he was pissed. And he kind of got snarky with me. I don't remember what he said on his way out. I'm like, sir, if we would have found it, it would be in the safe or it would be up here. He came back in 2 more times looking, each time still. And like the last time he was in there, I'm like, sir, everywhere that you and her were, we've looked. And his, like, when he left, he made some snarky comment about nobody's honest anymore because nobody makes any money. So I'm like, are you trying to insinuate like we stole your wallet, asshole? Just 4 times. I'm like, it's not here. I'm sure the girlfriend, I'm sure he drilled her. I imagine that fight in the parking lot was entertainment. So,
you know what?
Well, not if he actually hit her.
No, not for that. Not in that aspect. No. Speaking of work, I've been dealing with Canadians. Sorry, Canada, but some of you Canadians need to learn how to not write an email or speak to somebody on the phone half English, half French, because I have no idea what the fuck you're saying. What the fuck you trying to ask me any questions? I was losing it. They were driving me crazy. I was getting emails and I'm like, I have no idea what he's trying to tell me. One of my friends at work, he was like, why don't you use Google Translate for the French words? And I'm like, dude, I did for shits and giggles. And the email still makes no sense. It's like I'm talking to somebody who's hooked on phonics or something. I don't know. It just made no sense. Like the words, the sentences, nothing. I called this guy. How he types his emails is how he talks to you on the phone. Adam is like, oh my God, I kind of knew what he wanted or he was trying to insinuate. And I kept telling him no. He's like, and he just kept going in and like same shit over and over again. And for some reason, like douchebag popped in my head and I'm like, oh man, I can't take this anymore. And then I got a alert for wrestling alert. I'm like, I wonder if we can make t-shirts that say douchebag city. Can we do that? That would be fucking awesome. And on the back, douchebag city, Toronto, Canada, douchebag city, Seattle, Washington. I don't know. Just some of the places where
Cleveland, Ohio.
Yes, we can do that.
This is a special service announcement saying that the views of Joe and comments by Joe do not reflect the entire team here at Four Guys Roundtable Show. To our couple Canadian listeners, we're sorry.
Hey,
Listen, I was in
gonna
Toronto and I
say
love Toronto, but Jesus, stop, learn, stop. Not everyone can speak French.
The stereotypical Canadians are douchebags thing usually applies to Quebecois people, so because they're the French Canadians. So trust me, as somebody of French descent, I well familiar with all those, the snooty French stereotypes and everything. So,
and I have heard that from a lot of different. I've heard it on movies not movies, like documentaries I've watched. I've heard it in interviews that there is a certain group of people in Canada, mostly the French Canadians, that are a little snooty, high on themselves kind of thing. And it's I've heard it from people that are Canadian and other people and that I think Jericho, and not kind of trying to throw him under the bus, but I'm pretty sure I heard Jericho say that.
Yeah, I think he did.
Yeah, Jericho's is originally from Winnipeg, so he's Canadian but outside that, aspect of it. So, and I mean, if we're gonna bring wrestlers in to kind of like prove this stereotype.
Red knew it. Boy, I can't even say.
I feel like I was speaking to the Raju
Dupree.
Jacques brothers.
But Jacques Rougeau would be
Jacques Rougeau.
He would probably be the stereotype, because he whereas his brother Raymond seemed to be pretty well liked. It seemed like Jacques rubbed a lot of people the wrong way without trying to. He had a reputation where people just didn't like his attitude and stuff like that. In the wrestling business, it also probably came to the fact that his father was a promoter, and so you had a lot of those promoters' kids who had were looked down on by the other talent. Jeff Jarrett's a prime example of that. Feeling like they didn't maybe necessarily earn their way, just because their father was this, that, the other thing. But yeah, Jacques Rougeau would be the wrestling equivalent of why people don't why there's that stereotype against people from Quebec.
He popped in my head too. I felt like I was talking to him, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm trying to save you money, bro. I'm trying to save you money. And he was talking to me like we were at a flea market, and he came to my stand and he was trying to buy, I don't know, t-shirts, and I had t-shirts 2 for $10. He's like, well, I think I'll get a better order because of these type of colors aren't as popular. You should give them to me for 2 for $6. He was negotiating prices with me like we're at a flea market, and I'm just like, what? Dude, you're paying $1,000 for this. You're paying $150 from a month for this. You're only gonna get paid. We're only charging you $50, and you only have to pay $500. And there's other stuff. But I was just like, I'm saving you money. And I'm like, why are you trying to negotiate with me like we're at a flea market? That's what I kept just thinking.
Yeah, so he was talking to you like he was Jacques Rougeau. So when you told him that he was 2 for 10, did he go 2 for 10? Do you realize who I am? I am the Mountie. You will give them to me 2 for 5.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was just oof. I'm sorry, Canada. I love Canada in general. I've been to Toronto. I love Toronto, but goddamn, your French Canadians were driving me crazy this past week and a half. I'm just saying. I was like, oof.
Yeah, that's. Yep. I'm glad I don't have to deal with people for the most part.
Yeah, it's just since I switched position, it's just on a different level. But I mean, it's less stressful. But it's just, oh God, people, I try to save you some moolah. I'm trying to save you money.
Yeah, the only time it's a good deal is when it's the deal that they've made. Oh, that is a good deal. Yeah,
the one they have in their brain that they want to keep and try to force it on you, which is not going to happen.
Yes, and I'll say, and I want to go back to AJ's thing with the customers. One thing I do miss customer service sometimes, because I love the stories that you get to tell. Those are the funnest part. Some of the funnest things with being in retail and customer service is some of the just idiotic people that go into stores and have expectations that are beyond reasonable and act like it's the retailer's fault that it's not available or they don't have this or, it's priced this high. Like the retailer has any control over how much stock, like the individual store, like they have any control over how much stock they're going to get, the price setting or any of that stuff. Like, why is this so expensive? Well, that's what the shoe manufacturer wants to sell it for.
Yeah.
The girl I was working with today, she used to work at like one of the dollar stores, and she was telling me this yesterday, and I'm like, filed this one away because I'm going to use this one day. She said she hasn't done it at Famous Footwear, but she said when she used to work at the dollar store, she said that this person came in like 3 minutes before they closed one time, and they were being an asshole about it. And she said she was like, "Where do you work? What time do you close? I'm going to come there 3 minutes before you get off and see how you like it."
Wow.
Ouch.
She went in on that guy. She's like,
I'm like, if the situation ever presents itself where I can use that and get away with it, I'm going to.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I quickly learned when I started working retail, 20 years ago, the whole adage about the customer is always right is. I mean, the customer
sometimes
is
not all the time.
Half the time.
The customer is usually never right, and I have plenty of customer experiences. I mean, there was one time where I was trying to explain the difference to a customer between a flat panel and a flat screen monitor. He thought flat screen meant, the monitors that are this thick, which is not true. That's a flat panel monitor,
Mm-hmm.
But he almost lost it on me when I explained to him that the monitor we had on sale for $100 after rebate that week was a flat screen monitor, so it still had the huge ass panel in the back. That was that was one I always remember. But there was one that was hysterical. Now, and this was really a failure of the way we did our advertising at Circuit City. But in every week's ad, there'd be however many items, right? Anything that wasn't a CD, DVD, or video game, we more or less had a certain control over the inventory because like this stuff had to come to our distribution center first, and like they would know what was going to be in the ad for that week. So they would make sure that on the last truck before the ad that we got what they expected would be enough for the ad week and everything. We had no such inventory control over CDs, DVDs, and video games, but we would still advertise them. And there was this one Pokemon Game Boy game that was in the ad almost every week. It wasn't that it was on sale; it's just it was always in the ad. And we would always run out of them pretty quickly.
Shh, they're giggling in the back. I don't know what's going on, but there's giggling in the back. I think he's tickling her.
Yeah,
see, this is the time we need the porn music to hit. Wow, wow, yeah, baby, right there. Tickle me right there.
That's disgusting.
So anyway, there was this one Sunday because Sunday was the first day.
That's not what she said.
What?
Where once again we this one guy came in looking for this game.
Yeah.
And we once again didn't have the game.
What was I doing? Sorry.
You were having the sexy time.
I was using the restroom, but
that could be the sexy time.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we heard her giggle, so that we just kind of ran with the.
She just said you guys
the
are
rest.
being funny. She said it's funny tonight. She said she was listening.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So when we so like we whoever it was told the guy that sorry it's out of stock again, we don't have it yet. He almost lost it. Like he was like he just like, this is the third or fourth time or is it I've come in and you haven't had this game. And he like goes up to the front desk and he gets the same story from the person at the front desk and he's like, finally just like wiped his hands on the desk and stormed out. And I was like working in the CD section that morning, and I was just like, when I was like watching him go, I had to turn around and because I was going to start bursting out laughing because it's like
he was upset about a game that wasn't even on sale.
Yeah, it was a fucking Pokemon game, but I found it funny because of how angry he got, and also because it was like I knew the circumstance, and that's the kind of circumstance that you can explain to a customer until you're blue in the face and until they're red in the face from getting angry and everything. But he's never going to fucking believe you, and it's like you tell him the truth, but he's not going to believe you. So I just always found that hilarious, because it was like, yeah, I kind of agree with you. It does kind of suck that we put this thing in the advertisement and then we don't have enough, for it. But it's like, that's life.
So since we're talking some retail stories, I have two, and AJ will remember these folks, and because he probably still gets these folks where he's currently working. But when I worked at Champs, my favorite customer to deal with was the person that wanted money off because there was a possible scuff on the sneaker.
Yes.
Dude, there's a scuff right here. You got to give me like $10 off, man. You got to give me like at least $10, I'm like,
at least $10.
I'm usually like, I'm going to go try to get this off
with
something, and then you're not getting a discount. And then they'll still be like, well, can I get a discount still? No, I got the mark off. So no.
And that happened so many times. To be like, and it was 90% of the people that did this were the people that were getting Air Force Ones, or as they like to call them, Uptowns. Give me a pair of them Uptowns. What?
Was this
I had to ask them.
Uptown Funk?
Yeah, really. And they'd be like, but there's a scuff right there. I'm like, okay, give me 1 minute. I got cleaner. No problem. I'll take that right out. Get it out. Oh, man, so thankful. But there was always the person, like AJ just said, but man, yeah, I don't trust that it's going to stay out. Like, what?
You don't trust it's going to stay out, motherfucker.
Like, that stuff's going to the stuff's going to reappear.
It's fucking self-regenerating.
Like, okay, sure. And then it was the other people that were buying the Tims, like the Tims, because they'd always get the suede Tims. Like, they scuffed so freaking easily. And they'd always want money off of those. And I'd be like, just a sec, I've got another size 10 in the back. I'll grab that one for you, because I'm not about to give you $10 off on a $150 pair of boots. All right? You want to spend $150? That's on your fucking dollar, man. I'm not giving you $10 off.
You making that comment about getting the scuff out and it reappearing, for whatever reason, this just popped in my head. I don't know why. But it's like, yeah, you used hot water and the scuff went away. This isn't a fucking hypercolor goddamn sneaker where your body heat changes the color of your t-shirt. Like, dude, just shut up and say the goddamn shit. I don't know why that popped in my head, but it did. It was kind of funny.
But there was I had this incident. I don't want to even say an incident. It was an interesting encounter with two gentlemen. So I was helping these two gentlemen with their shoes and that, and I walked back into the back, grabbed their pair of shoes, came back, and the one guy looks at me. He's like, "You got nice calves." I was like, that's an interesting comment to make to somebody.
Sweet, Mike Dawson was shopping in your store.
So I walked away, helped some other people, came back. He's like, and then he asked me, he's like, how did you get such nice calves? I was like, okay. I was like, well, we have to climb a lot of ladders here, so I'm constantly up and down the ladders. He's like, okay, thank you. I was like, okay. Like,
climb stairs, bro. That's how you get good calf muscles. I don't know. That's just.
I mean, I understood that he was gay by the first comment he made, and that is probably the gentleman that he was with was gay. But I was just like, that's just an interesting way to approach somebody.
That was his pickup line.
Yeah.
It's like at that point, then it becomes like that scene in the first Austin Powers movie where Dr. Evil's recounting his childhood in front of the support group, and Carrie Fisher is the counselor just saying, we need to stop.
Yeah.
That's that's the moment right there where it's like, okay, this isn't going anywhere else.
My favorite customer is the one that comes in on Christmas Eve and doesn't understand why you don't have their size. That's the worst customer in the shoe store. It does not get any worse than the day or two before Christmas. Why don't you have my size? Where were you 10 days ago, fucker?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I go into store now. I don't ever complain to anybody. But like I'll go into a store, and I don't try not to go on Christmas Eve shopping because like that is like the dumbest time to go shopping and try and find your kids' toys. But I've done it because like, you know, maybe my wife or somebody's like, we just like, oh my God, we got to get this gift. We run out. And then I think in the back of my mind I'm mumbling to myself like, God damn it, I can't believe they don't have this goddamn toy, you know, but I'm not going to walk up to somebody there and be like, why the hell don't you fucking have this toy? You should have this toy. It's fucking Christmas Eve. Like, no shit, they don't have the toy. That's why I'm mumbling to myself and cursing at myself essentially.
It's not their fault.
Yeah.
And I get the ladies sometimes that are like, did you take my coupon off? And I'll be like, do you want to come around to the counter and do my job for me? I know what I'm doing. Would you like to come around here? I'll pay you to do my job. So they like
don't tempt them.
A lot of the coupons at Famous Footwear nowadays at any place, they're on your phone or whatever.
Yes.
And the way our system is set up, we do everything and then scan their coupon last. They jam those motherfucking phones like. I'm like, yes, I can see that you have a coupon. I will get to it when I get a chance. And they jam it back up in there. And I'm like, I mean, because of the protective screen now, it doesn't happen as much. But before that, they'd be jamming that phone like I'm like
up in your nose.
I see it.
That's so fucking annoying.
It's there. I can see it out of the my peripheral vision. I know it's there. Did you get my coupon yet? No.
Yeah, it's
so annoying.
I mean, and I used the coupon today. We were getting Halloween costumes for the kids. Lucas is going to be a gladiator. I'm very stoked about that. He's super excited about his costume. And sweet. Abby's going to be like Little Red Riding Hood. Very age appropriate Little Red Riding Hood, you know, not, you know.
Okay.
Because all the pictures that you see are like the freaking hooker Little Red Riding Hoods. And I'm like, God,
Jeremy. I don't think any of us assumed your 10-year-old daughter was going to be going as sexy Red Riding Hood.
I know, but I have to put it out there because you just know you just never know. Some of these people might like, I can't believe you selected her Red Riding Hood costume. But anyways, and we have one of those coupons.
Make sure you teach Lucas to say, "Are you not entertained?"
But you know, we have those coupons, and I know I gotta show the person the coupon. Like I know I have to do that because if they don't, you know. But I always wait for them to either say, "Hey, do you have any coupons?" or be like ready to like hit the total button, and then I'm like, "Okay, I have the coupon," and I turn it like this. I don't go like this. So they can see it. All I got to do is turn my phone. Hey, look they can see your phone. It's a big enough fucking screen anymore. The screens are huge on phones now. It's not like it's a fucking, 1996 phone and the screen's, the size of, an inch and a half long, big. So, it's just, it's so funny, like the way people are.
Cell phone.
Yes.
The Zach Morris cell phone.
The Zach Morris cell phone.
Jesus.
Like this. But no, it is funny.
Man.
You work in customer service long enough, especially like phone customer service. Those are the really funny ones because I was told so many times, even after I started talking like excited to talk to people and like tried to, and sometimes pretended to be excited. Sometimes I was, sir, you really need to learn how to do customer service because you are just not very polite. And you're not very helpful. And it's like, huh? Like, am I not helpful because I didn't give you what you want because I can't make that happen because I'm not the insurance company that makes the rules and regulations, or I'm not the government that, like, I don't understand where this how you're saying I'm not being helpful to you and how I'm not being polite, how I'm not being respectful. Like I had one lady, she's like, "Don't call me ma'am." I'm like, "Okay, miss, you're being condescending." Like, how would you want me to address you? Yeah, well, how would you like me to address you? Should I be like, "Hey, listen, bitch"? Like, how am I supposed to?
Broad, you do what they said back in the "Hey, broad."
Yeah,
it's
like
fucking broad over here.
Those that was the funniest one, is the person that's like, you're trying to be polite to them and call them ma'am or miss or Mrs., whatever. And they're like, "Don't you condescend me with that talk." I'm like, What?
Fucking polite right now.
It's because of the way I am and my demeanor. Sometimes I'll have people be like, "Yeah, you weren't very helpful," and I just walk away and say, "Yeah, okay." You're not a very cheery person. Yeah, okay, you got me. Sorry. Go talk to the other person working here. You got me. My secret's out of the bag. I don't smile. Sorry.
Let me walk around. Let me walk around with bells on my shoes and pretend to and smile and jump like joy.
They tried probably early in my famous footwear career. I think a couple people were like, "Man, can you smile? Can you just not look so pissed off all the time?" And I think everybody's gotten to a point where they just know what they're getting with me, and they've given up because they know it's not happening. So.
And you need to smile. You need to smile, and you need to have at least 15 pieces of flair on at all times.
So, like, they can't and I'm not going to go into specifics, but we have people have to sign up for reward cards, and I have one of the best rewards cards percentages in the whole district. And if you would have told me 5 years ago, I don't think anybody would have believed it. And I'm one of the best rewards people in the district, and I don't smile, and I don't do all the things that everybody else does. My friend Bart told me once, I think the people feel like you're putting a gun to their head and they don't want to say no to you. I'm like, I don't give a fuck what I'm doing. Whatever I'm doing is working. So
that's funny.
I think they're scared of you. People have said that to me. I can't do what you do. I don't know what it is, Matt. I think they're scared of you. I'm like, whatever works for me. They're signing up and I'm doing better than anybody else here. So
what happens if Matt's face, if he cracks a smile, this is what happens.
when he said it's like you're putting a gun to somebody's hand, you're putting a gun to somebody's head. You should have done the whole you pretend like your hand was a gun thing and held your hand. You're just like, what are you trying to say, man?
Oh my god.
Just two real quick things, kind of going back to what you guys said previously. One of the funniest stories I ever heard of a retail was a guy I worked for in Suncoast Video told me, and another one of my
Suncoast or somebody else.
No, this was Wayne, the guy you called Mick Foley. Yeah. He said he was working Christmas Eve one year, and this guy came in late in the day, 4 or 5 o'clock, when stores normally close about 6 o'clock on Christmas Eve, looking for a movie. Don't remember what the movie it was, but they didn't have it. It was out of stock at the time. And then the guy flipped out, lost his shit. It was the one thing my wife wanted more than anything else this year. Why the fuck did you wait until Christmas Eve to go look for it?
I know, right?
This was pre Amazon days and stuff like that. That's how long ago this was. So if it was the one thing that your wife wanted more than anything else, why the fuck did you wait till fucking Christmas Eve to go look for it, you dumb bitch? Well, apparently the guy got so pissed off about it and was just so angry. They eventually had to call security to get him to throw him out. So that was pretty fun. But Jeremy, talking about what people want to be called. So doing customer service over the phone for damn near 7 years for T-Mobile, there was one. It was small, but there was this one small, fascinating subset of customers who get very angry if you did not know that they were a doctor.
Oh yes, I love those people. Yeah. Yes, the doctors.
So,
I'm a doctor.
I would never presume to just start calling somebody by their first name. I would call them Mr., Mrs., or Miss, whatever their last name was. There were a couple times where I would say Mr. or whatever, and then it would be like, doctor, please.
Oh yeah, I got some of that too, Pat. Yeah, fucking drove me nuts.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about because you work for T-Mobile too. There were some people. Remember the special instructions that would pop up when accounts popped up?
Oh yes.
There were several that I found over the years where it would pop up and it would say, "Please call customer doctor," whatever the fuck their last name was. So if I, So if I ever got somebody who it didn't say that, and I called them Mr., Miss, whatever, and they were like, oh no, it's Dr. blah, blah, blah. I'd be like, click the special instruction screen. Please refer to customer as. So I like added in for the next person and everything. But it's like, you're a doctor? Great. Good for you. How the fuck was I supposed to know?
Yeah. Like if nowhere on your account say doctor, your name doesn't show up as Dr. James Williams. I don't fucking know. I got that more from like the West Coast people.
Fucking biography when your account pops up, motherfucker.
Yeah, Pat, I got most of that on the overnight shift that I had worked at T-Mobile and one of the late second shifts when all the West Coast people started like calling in like issues with their BlackBerries. I am Dr. Blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, Mr. Stick Up Your Ass. I'm going to call you Dr. Williams now. Oh, it's just Jesus fucking Christ. It was ridiculous. I remember one time I missed one of those special instructions and I called the guy by his first name and he goes, excuse me. I was like, yes. How old are you? And I don't remember how old I was when I was working there. Early 30s, maybe. Whatever. I said my name. I said how old I was. He goes, who the fuck taught you manners like that? You do not address anybody by their first name. You address me by Mr. Whatever.
He swore at you?
Oh, yeah.
That's good manners.
Did you give him the going on the script?
Oh, yeah. Once he was done shutting up, I semi-interrupted him at the end of his little thing. And I read him the script and he was kind of taken back by that. And I was like, Mr. blah, blah, blah. I was like, my apologies. I said, but we try to have a friendly atmosphere here at T-Mobile Technical Support. And I'm just trying to help you with your issues with whatever you're calling in today about. And I was like, just being super nice to him. And he's like, just from now on, address me by Mr. whatever his last name is. Like, I was like, well, Mr. da da da, I will do so just for you. And I was like, so what can I help you out with today? What seems to be the technical issue you're having? And I was just laying out super thick with the fucking super niceness. He fucking hated it. But he's on the phone only for like 6 minutes and the shit was done. And I was like, bye-bye, see you later. I just hated that. It just drove me crazy.
Yes, there is a group of people from everywhere that thinks they're entitled. And entitlement, I just
different
don't
levels
get
of
it.
entitlement, but
Yeah,
still.
I just don't get it. So, thinking of people who get their feelings hurt, Joe, did you get to watch the Dave Chappelle special?
I did.
So
when did I watch? Yeah, I watched it. Oh wait, when did I watch it? Yeah, I watched it yesterday.
So Joe and I told Joe,
I enjoyed it.
Yes, so did I. We decided to watch the Dave Chappelle special because the latest Dave Chappelle special called Closer on Netflix was released and got requested to be removed by the very long acronym group. I'm not even trying to do it because I always mess up the letters. Because he made a transgender joke. So I had to watch it because I'm like, okay, I got to see how bad this joke is and see if it's really, really that bad that people are the transgender community is in a huge uproar about this. Like, I got to hear this. So I watched it.
They've been on his case for years, though. But yeah,
yes, they have. So I'm watching this special, and I'm just like, okay, where is it? Where is it? It's almost all the way at the end of the special, and it's one joke. Okay. And I'm not going to do the joke because I'm not here. We're not going to offend anybody because it's not necessary. But I'll tell you this. The joke, if you understand that he's a comedian, you understand that it's a joke. He also then goes in to talk about one of the best friends that he had who was a transgender and laughed at all his transgender jokes because she knew it was a joke and he is a comedian.
So the girl, the transgender from San Francisco.
Yeah, and needless to say, when she went on to defend him, I don't think it was about this particular joke. It was about other jokes that he had.
It was one of his previous specials.
Right. I think a couple months later after that, then she committed suicide.
Yeah.
I think it was a couple months after that she committed suicide.
So
because she started getting backlash for defending him.
Yeah.
I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah. So his special, they didn't like it for his jokes that he did. And then he was getting tore up on Twitter. And then she defended him on Twitter. And then she got tore up on Twitter by her own, he calls them, community. He likes to call them tribes. That's his thing, which I get. So I think it was 3 days after that is when she committed suicide. So, it's just cancel culture. I mean, here's the thing. I enjoyed everything that Dave Chappelle does. I enjoy. And it's kind of funny where like he does his specials and he gets parts where he's serious, but when he's serious about stuff, he makes a joke at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like the joke he made at the end, he's like, she would appreciate this joke. And then, the joke about, when his,
when he meets the daughter.
Yeah. She would have laughed at that too. You know what I mean? So it's just in context. It's just that's a whole different topic, but it's just unfortunate in regards to it. It's a good special. Guys, watch it. It's funny as shit.
No, you guys should watch
serious talk, and they take some jabs at people and does other stuff. It's funny as shit.
Yeah.
But
if you like Dave Chappelle, you'll like it. It's just one of those things.
It's just sad that a comedian can't be a comedian these days.
It's hard. It would be hard to be a comedian because that's your job, is making fun of people.
And so many people just want to hop on the Twitter train and just keep riding it and just keep bashing along.
And it's funny because
it's unfortunate.
As I'm watching that special, there was 2 women in the crowd. And when he made that joke, they were showing the crowd at that, like shortly after that. And these 2 women were sitting there like this.
Oh, was it the 2? I'm going to say it. They were mother and daughter, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Mother and daughter. And they were, the mother had like the spiky blonde hair. Is that the ones you're talking about?
Yeah, kind of whitish, like hair, like spiked or kind of afroed. Something. It was terrible.
The funny thing about that is every time it seemed like every time he would make certain jokes, the camera always pans right by those 2, and the daughter would laugh at a lot of stuff, and the mom was laughing at stuff, but some stuff she was like,
yeah, like serious face, like, what are you doing?
I'm ashamed of you right now, Mr. Chappelle.
But
it was like she wanted to yell at her for shit. That's like,
but I mean, if you're going to see a Dave Chappelle.
She paid money to go there with her daughter, so
yeah,
you know Chappelle, you know what you're going to get from him, so you shouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, and when you say that, you shouldn't be surprised. This is a guy on the very first episode of the Dave Chappelle show. He does the black white supremacist. What the fuck do you think you're going to get from him at a live show where he can be completely uncensored?
I know.
So it was like I said, anybody who is a Dave Chappelle fan, just watch it, enjoy it, get some good laughs out of it, and make your own conclusion about was that joke really that bad, or was it just a joke? My opinion, it was just a joke, and nobody should take offense to a joke. And if you do, turn off the TV. You don't have to watch it.
Yeah. This is one of those areas where I'm like of 2 minds about the situation, in the sense that I think it's dangerous to start saying you can or can't joke about this or that. I think that when you try to censor comedy, you're possibly taking it a step too far.
You're already lost it at that point.
Yeah. Now, on the other hand, I look at it also like this. I'm a straight white male.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very much not in any group that's going to take offense to, these kinds of jokes.
True.
So I don't have the perspective that somebody in the LGBTQ community would, to like really be able to know or say, this is offensive to me. Like this kind of joke makes me feel marginalized as a person. Again, that kind of thing. Like I don't have that perspective, and I never can. So that's why it's like if somebody who's in one of those groups says they do, like I'm just gonna go, all right, I'll do better. Like I'm not gonna find that funny, or I'm not gonna try to defend that or whatever. Now I haven't seen the special, so I've heard about the controversy surrounding it, of course, but I haven't seen the special itself. But it's just like there's certain things where I feel like some people, though, they dig their heels in a little too far, in defending something. Like the one high school close to Jeremy and I here, Wilson High School. They were going to change the school nickname from Warriors to something else, and they got this huge petition and presented it to the school board, and the school board said, okay, we're not going to change the nickname, but now there's talk about changing like the mascot, which is like a Native American guy in a headdress and everything. And it's like, okay, you can keep the name Warrior. I said, I think it is time to probably de-emphasize like the Native American imagery, because while it's not racist, I think it's also not really in good taste. And and I just don't think anybody should be necessarily using like Native American imagery for sports mascots and everything. But it's like I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who are still going to say, no, we can't change the mascot for this reason or that reason. And my question to them really then is just, is this the hill you want to die on? Like, is this the cause for you that's so important that you're going to drop everything in your life to defend it?
There's definitely a better hill to die on, and is not one on that.
Right.
I can think of many hills that would be awesome to die on, most of which I can't talk about.
well, that's basically my point. It's like, I just think it's like, I think it's a little perspective is important in things of that sort too. So it's like just like if a comedian gets told that there's like one joke in their act that is bothering enough of a certain subsection of people, then I think that comedian might also behoove that comedian to just say, all right, maybe I shouldn't tell that joke then. I got plenty of others. So again, it's a two-way street. It's something that I think deserves to be talked about. I despise the term cancel culture for many reasons, which I don't really want to get into, because again, we'll be making too many inroads into a political discussion then, and I don't want to do that. Yep. But again, it's just something where I think talking about it is also probably better than not talking about it. And at the same time, I think it's like honestly talking about it, not just saying like, oh, I don't want to hear what you have to say and that kind of thing.
Or bashing, which people just tend to do because no one wants to have a civilized conversation these days about anything.
Yes.
Right. And that's where, unfortunately, I think the internet and social media, much more so than just specifically the internet, that really ruined
social media, but yeah.
Really ruined the discourse and in the world. Yeah, not just the country, but the whole world. So
all right. Now, wrestling. I watched the thing that is called NXT 2.0, baby. Oh, yeah. I was on the wrestling train, and I got to say, it wasn't very good. It wasn't very good at all.
So you watched NXT Color Rush?
Yes, I did. That is a very, very... It's like they're trying to appease every person under the spectrum of possibilities with their fancy color logo. It's terrible. It's like the rainbow threw up all over it. I'm like, what the hell?
You know what's kind of funny is like I watch Turner Classic Movies, and they just like changed like their logo and their program like interstitial things, and it's all like bright and vibrant and colorful now, and like quick with like this like music playing. And I'm just saying to myself, why the fuck did you change this? Well, who was saying that the network needed a younger, hipper take? And why does adding all this color splash make it younger and hipper anyway?
Wow.
It reminds me of some late 80s, early 90s shit. They're trying to appease kids, women, men, casual fans, super fans with a little bit of everything, and it's not going to work at all.
Right, but that's also late 80s, early 90s. The last time I checked, the calendar said 2021, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
I know.
I was not very impressed. I did get to see
Braun.
Braun.
Steiner's kid.
Yeah, Braun Broker or Braun Breaker. I was like, the second I heard his name and I looked at him, I was like, yeah, he's definitely the Steiner's. He's definitely Rick Steiner's son.
If you just heard him talk and didn't see him, you know he's Steiner's kid because he sounds like a mixture of his dad and his uncle.
Yeah, and see, I don't catch that, and that I just don't necessarily. I can't tell you the last time I heard Rick Steiner promo, so I don't catch the similarity in voices and stuff like that. But oh my god, it's just like, wow, they are really.
And they shaved Brock Lesnar Jr.'s head now.
Oh man, I was so disappointed.
Make him not be Brock Lesnar.
They make him. He looks like he's like a inmate type of character now. It's like, oof.
Yeah.
It's like we'll see.
But
we'll see
if
what
he's
happens.
going to destroy Joe Gacy, that's fine because I think Joe Gacy's an idiot. So if I'm going to get to watch Parker destroy that guy, I'm okay with it. The woke guy he's terrible.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that character was like, I'm watching Joe Gacy and I'm like,
they've had to tone down his gimmick because it first came out, he was like, whoa, way over here. And if fans weren't happy with it, they were like, whoa, we got to tone this shit down.
Yeah, and I'm just like, did he really just hug the other guy in the ring after he beat him?
Yep.
And didn't he just say that we're not going to have to resort to violence to settle this? I'm like, what? Like, this fucking gimmick makes no sense. So therefore, we call it a Drimmick.
Yes. First Drimmick of the night.
Even if what they're going for is like criticism of woke culture, there's nothing woke culture about anything that you just described.
No, there isn't.
and
No.
they
So if that's some idiot writer's idea of what like wokeism or woke culture is about, then it's like, yeah, you don't know once again what the fuck you're talking about.
and you take Mandy Rose and you change her hair color. That doesn't mean all of a sudden she knows how to wrestle. Changing somebody's hair color does not mean, oh, now she can wrestle, because she can't wrestle. If you like her, that's fine. I think she's not good. She belongs in it. She belongs in a
She's
development.
fine to look at. Yeah, of course.
But
Her outfit was very interesting. I was like, is that supposed to be the new style, like thong underwear, like high thong underwear that Lita used to wear? Like, is that what we're trying to get away with here?
Like I've always found Mandy Rose fun to look at. I also don't know why they would change her hair color. But yeah, she never impressed me in the ring. But then again, I don't ever remember seeing her enough in the ring to get an impression really one way or the other. She was just like pretty much just
true as well.
There's a huge difference between me and you guys, though, with women's wrestlers. I don't give a shit if they're pretty or not. If they can't wrestle, I don't give a fuck about them. So I don't care how pretty they are. If they suck as a wrestler, I'm done. So
yeah, and it's not about them being pretty. It's nice that they're. It's nice if they are pretty because it, that is what it is. Like
appeals to the males.
I don't care at all.
But regardless if you're pretty or not, if you can't wrestle, then you're not really worth much in the sense of a wrestling program, because they've really gone away from valets as much, managers, whatever you want to call them for females wrestlers. They've really gone away from it. So if you can't wrestle, the pretty factor only works on a certain percentage of males.
In about 6 weeks, I'm going to say 2 months max, all the titles are going to be on shitty people on NXT. Like everybody that has a belt in about 2 months is going to be somebody that sucks on that show. So I will probably stop watching NXT at some point. It's coming. I don't want to, but it's coming because I'm not going to waste my time watching that garbage. The fact that Raw has been better than that show 2 or 3 weeks in a row is crazy. me.
Well, and let's be honest.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. That's what Vince wants. Vince wants his trademark show, his flagship program, to be the best. So why not take NXT and turn it into a dumpster fire and be like, see, this is why it should be developmental.
And they kind of shifted the balance because SmackDown has been the best show for like 2 years. So they shifted the balance and they drafted some of the people on SmackDown that were making SmackDown good. They took Rollins and they took Owens. Not that Owens really matters right now, but they moved some of those people to Raw to like balance it out more to where like one show isn't going to be the better show for sure every week. I mean, Roman's on SmackDown. So like to me, that show is just because of Roman right now, because that's the best storyline type stuff they have going right now. But they balanced it more. It's going to be real interesting on Friday night coming up, guys, because we got a half-hour run over on SmackDown. We got a half-hour run over where it's going head-to-head with Rampage, and Rampage is going to be live. So and SmackDown's going to be on FS1. It's not going to be on regular Fox. The FS1, it doesn't get as much viewership. I wish Tony Khan wouldn't have shot his mouth off and said, we're going to beat WWE in that half hour. I wish Khan would have not said something, but
you gotta be careful with that stuff.
Should have left it.
Probably shouldn't have said anything.
No, he shouldn't have. It would have been better alone. To not say anything.
Don't wake the sleeping giant.
He's just super excited about what his company's doing, so he's getting ahead of himself.
CM Punk wrestles on Rampage. He doesn't really wrestle on Dynamite. He's a Rampage guy, I feel like. This is going to be the third time he's wrestled on Rampage. He's only wrestled once on Dynamite.
Well, that's because they haven't really put him into a story specifically yet, it feels like.
I'm okay with people wrestling on one show anyways. I would prefer that they kind of limit it anyways. I want that.
Well, put it this way, especially if it's a taped Rampage, which it seems like most of them are anymore, like said, they're taping right after Dynamite. Somebody probably only should wrestle once between those two shows on a given week. Then
this one will be live. This is a weird week where there's no Dynamite on Times Day this week. It's on Saturday.
Yeah, so that's different. But you know what you were saying with your speculation about they're going to put all the titles on NXT on the horrible people or whatever. Cornette's told a story on his podcast from the OVW days.
AJ's already shaking his head.
from the OVW days, like when he was running OVW back in like the early 2000s and everything. And it would be.
Oops, sorry.
We want to call some guys up to the main roster. Give us your assessment of the guys that you have right now, like rank them. And so he said that there was like 30 guys on the roster at the time. So he ranked them 1 through 30. Who did they call up to the main roster? The guys he ranked 28, 29, and 30. So,
and that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, but what I'm saying is like that's like the way that Vince, Pritchard, Laurinaitis, because I mean they were all obviously there at that point. They're obviously the guys who seem to be running the show now. I guess you could also throw Nick Khan in there. I don't know how much say he has with the wrestling part of it, but yeah, it's like doesn't make a whole lot of fucking sense. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure that if I was in a room with Cornette and I asked him who the 5 best wrestlers in the world right now, they would be completely different from mine, and I would probably punch that motherfucker in the face. So.
True. Very true.
Well, might agree. He might agree with you on a couple guys. Like, he might have Adam Cole on that list.
Okay, he might, but he already did say that because he's associating with those other guys, he already doesn't like him now.
I don't remember him saying that exactly, but I haven't been paying tremendous attention to like his show reviews the last couple of weeks, so I don't know.
So I have the brackets for the King of the Ring and the Queen's Crown, and
let me queue up.
I'm sorry, but that's just
pretty obvious.
That's such a terrible name.
What, for the women's?
Yeah, Queen's Crown does not roll off the tongue.
Yeah, it doesn't not as much as King of the Ring does. No, definitely not.
King of the
Queen
Ring.
of the Crown. Nope.
King of the Ring. King of the Ring flows perfectly, no problem. Queen's Crown, Queen's Crown, Queen's Crown, Queen's Crown. You know, that's one of those try saying that 5 times fast type phrase. That's just
All right, so let's hear what the King of the Ring is.
So we already had 2 matches the other night. So it was Sami Zayn versus Rey Mysterio. And I guess those 2 guys are going to be in a program moving forward. So Sami Zayn won that match. The Cesaro versus Finn Balor, which I wasn't really sure how they were going to go with this one. Finn Balor won that one. So here's my issue. Finn Balor is going to beat Sami Zayn, considering the fact that he's not allowed at the Saudi Arabia show.
You're right. You're right.
So he's not allowed there. So he is not going to be.
Why is Sami Zayn not allowed at the Saudi Arabia show?
Because
he's of Syrian descent, and there's long-standing bad blood between Syria and Saudi Arabia.
Gotcha. Okay, I wasn't sure of his actual ethnicity.
Yeah. So that's gonna be Finn Balor going to the finals, and then the other side we have Kofi Kingston versus Jinder Mahal. I wonder who's going to win that one. And then Xavier Woods versus Ricochet. I'm totally expecting Xavier Woods to win that match.
I'm actually totally expecting Xavier Woods to win the whole thing. So,
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest. I think it's going to be between him and Finn. They're going to put the King of the Ring on one of those 2. Jinder Mahal is going to win.
The finals Finn against whichever New Day guy they decide to go with.
It's going to be Xavier.
Supposedly Xavier's been pushing to do the King of the Ring, and he even said crown me at the end of on Raw the other night. So and I want him to get something, because to me he's the best person in the New Day, and he's the person that they've done the least. He's had no singles recognition at all. So I actually want to win this, because he's the only New Day guy I don't hate.
So it gets.
I was a fan of him in TNA and stuff too.
Yes, I like him because he was Consequences Creed. I still remember that.
So for me, for the predictability, it gets a. but the fact that it is probably going to be Xavier Woods, that's definitely good, because he deserves it. He's been deserving of a push, because
it doesn't mean he's going to get a push, but King of the Ring doesn't mean shit, really.
Right. I mean, he should get a push. He's been probably, in my personal opinion, probably the most deserving of the 3 out of the New Day, because he never really got a singles push to begin with. He kind of was he was there. He kind of fell back into obscurity, and then all of a sudden he emerged with the New Day, and he's been with the New Day ever since.
I think it was really dumb that Nakamura was the king and they made him give his crown away, and then he's not even in the tournament. Why wouldn't you put the guy in the tournament? I'm not saying he had to win, but why wouldn't you let the guy be in the tournament who has the king that's got to give it away by default? To me, he should have at least been in the tournament.
So I'll say, I want to say one thing too. I don't like Baron Corbin. I've never liked him, never cared for him, even after he won King of the Ring. But there was one really cool thing about him winning a King of the Ring. He did really have a cool crown and cool cape. I must say that. That I will at least say. I'll give him that much. He had a cool crown and a cool cape.
Now he's annoying as hell again, and now he's got Riddick Moss with him, and that's where they've put Kevin Owens in the program with those 2 idiots. So
fantastic.
Just wasted him. So moving on to the Queen's Crown, Sir Darth Pat. We had 2 matches. Zelina Vega defeated Toni Storm, and then Carmella beat Liv Morgan, which I expected. Carmella's going to the finals. Zelina's not winning this at all, unfortunately.
Shayna. I think it might be Shayna time.
So here's my worry. I want Shayna to win this. So Shayna is wrestling Dana Brooke in a rematch, technically. And then Doudrop is wrestling Natalya. So my concern is they have Shayna is going to beat Dana, and I think Doudrop's going to beat Natalya. And they already set it up from the other show of those 2 feuding. Yeah. But I have this weird thing they're going to pull the rookie thing and Dewdrop's going to win this whole goddamn tournament. I have a feeling, and she's going to win the tournament, and then she's going to feud with Shayna in some manner. But that's what worries me. I feel like they would do a swerve like that and be like, let's put it on Dewdrop, and she's got momentum.
Dewdrop's like, she's a pretty good wrestler.
Yes,
her character is kind of stale. Like she doesn't have a ton of personality, and there's not like she's a work in progress to me still.
Right? Yeah.
So
I'll say if they do push Shayna, which I'm okay with. I've never been a huge fan, but I give her credit where credit is due. I can say that I would cheer for her.
I would. She's getting her true heel push that they should have done a long time ago.
And they just like if Charlotte would have been in this, I'm like, Charlotte has to win, but since Charlotte's not in it, like it doesn't matter. But if
I'm
Charlotte,
glad they didn't put any of those people in it either. They don't.
I'm kind of glad they didn't as well.
No, I just expected them to though.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. It doesn't matter to me whether she was in it. I just was like, if she's in it, she has to win.
I get it.
So
and Darth Pat's so bored by the subject of Queen's crown that he's
looking up new names for them. That's what he's doing.
Is that what he's doing?
It was really fun Monday night because they put Charlotte in the ring, gave her a mic, and fed Bianca to her. I love watching Charlotte eviscerate the other women on the mic because she's on a whole nother level than everybody else on the microphone in WWE. And there are other people that are. Sasha's decent on the mic. Bayley was as decent as a heel. Alexa's had her moments, but Charlotte's on a whole nother level than all of them. So every time they send somebody to do a promo with Charlotte, I'm just like, this is going to be fun to watch her tear Bianca apart. And that's exactly what she did. And then they had Becky floating around. Becky didn't really say anything. She just made weird facial expressions the whole time. And I'm like, they don't want Becky getting on the mic with Charlotte here because Charlotte's going to fuck her up too. So it's Charlotte. It's fun to watch Charlotte just terrorize people on the microphone.
Yeah, I'll never say Becky's a great talker. She holds her own to a point, and that's really about where she is, and that's okay. That's fine.
She's made me chuckle a few times since they've attempted to turn her heel. She's had a moment or two where she's actually been funny. So but I don't think she wants to be a heel. I think she's like fighting that. I feel like she's kicking and screaming. So made her.
The story was that she asked to turn heel. So I don't know about that.
Now it feels like it seems like she's half trying. Like 2 weeks in a row, she shows up like she stole some of Seth Rollins' stuff, and she's like looking all goofy and crazy, which is sometimes that works when you're a heel. Like Rollins is awesome right now because he's finding the most ridiculous shit he can to wear. And it was like Becky was taking some of it from him and saying, okay, I'm going to use some of this. And then she'll show up looking normal for a week. And then all of a sudden she's wearing the goofy sunglasses again. It's like she can't make up her mind. Like, if you're going to do it, do it. Like Seth has said, I'm going to wear this crazy shit every week. I don't give a fuck. Like, you got to buy into it. And it's like Becky buys into it for 2 weeks. And then, I don't really want to do it this week. But I'll do it next week again.
Yeah, she's got to figure out what works for her. With it. Yeah, she's got to figure out what works for her to be a good heel.
But she also definitely needs to pick one look and stick with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, she does.
To each his own.
Flip-flopping.
To each his own, Pat. I know you said you. I don't know if it's because of the Messiah. Rollins is not the Messiah right now, and Rollins is as good as anybody in WWE on the mic right now. The last couple of weeks, he has been killing it on the mic. He is on another.
I haven't watched SmackDown in a while, so I don't know what he's been doing. When he was backstage with Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville, and he gave the picture of Edge and Beth, and he's like, "When you see Edge, can you give this back to him?" That was fabulous.
Yeah, he's been pulling the stops out for some of his promos, definitely.
And that's good. I'm glad he went away from the Messiah gimmick because I'll be honest, anything that has to do with like kind of like a religious thought process to it or anything, I'm not a big fan of that stuff. It's just one of those things I've never been a big fan of, but that's just a personal preference.
But I never, and I never felt like that gimmick worked either.
I mean, sometimes it matters who the people are with you. Maybe he didn't, maybe they could have had better people with him. They couldn't decide. They put Austin Theory with him, then took him away. And so sometimes you can't always turn like, something that's shitty into something good. So sometimes it's hard to do that. So
yeah, Austin Theory, Buddy Murphy, and then the tag team guys, and it was like rotating people.
I'm trying to think. Pat, did you watch Dynamite again?
I tuned in late, so I missed the first match. I saw the very end of it. I saw where they did the Spirit Squad move on Jungle Boy, I think it was.
Jungle Boy.
At the end of the first match. Where they each grabbed.
Oh yeah. They did like a V trigger, all four of them did a V trigger on him.
Well, it was like where they each grabbed a limb and they popped them up in the air.
Oh yeah, well, they also botched the power bomb with Luchasaurus. All four of them were trying to power bomb Luchasaurus and they botched it.
That's not a good move to botch.
I was sticking around
the first match, AEW kind of like every week, the first match is good and the last match is good. And it's the in-between stuff that determines whether the show to me is like an A or a B or whatever. So and this is another week where the first match was really good other than the botch. But there was a part in that first match where all these people were doing what Pat really loves. All these people were doing suicide dives and doing all this crazy shit and jumping out of the ring. And then Adam Cole bounced off the ropes. And I'm like, what's he going to do? Because he doesn't do this shit, Jeremy. And he just stopped in the middle and went, Adam Cole, baby.
He teased that he was going to do it and he didn't.
That was that part. That was my favorite part of that match because I wasn't expecting that. So, and the last match was good too. It's just that middle stuff sometimes, it's like hit or miss. Like the women's match was good. I just don't really like either of those women. So, but that match was solid for them to have a match for them. Match that didn't have Britt Baker or Thunder Rosa.
Yeah, well, Guevara wrestled Bobby Fish, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember thinking that was decent.
That match was
I remember not really being much interested in what was going on, and I think I dozed off and I missed the fucking ladder match, and I rewinded to see that that Paige was the surprising. That had to be Hangman. If there was anybody other than Hangman that was the Joker, that would have been a train wreck. Like that had to be Hangman. So they did the right thing there, for sure. Yeah, when I saw that he was the surprise guy and that he won, I said, good decision.
So now they've got him with the poker chip. They've got Bryan Danielson saying he wants a title shot, and they're also saying now they're going to do some world championship title eliminator tournament that's going to end at Full Gear. So there's going to be another person there with a title shot.
So they're going to have two people. They have the ability to get a title shot.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's going to work out.
Beyond that, the stuff that I think I saw on this show,
you saw Jericho and them with the Dan Lambert and those dipshits.
Well, hold on, I'm kind of going through the result page here for the show. The TBS Championship.
Yeah. They're going with that theme, unfortunately.
Not sure that's a good idea. We'll see.
But it's still, I told Joe the women's mid-card title looks cooler than the actual world title.
Yeah, it's just again that I don't think that their women's roster is strong enough to warrant two singles titles. No.
But if I had to choose, I would have rather them done trios belts. I wanted trios belts, not another women's title. So
yeah, it's also a little this is a complaint over how they do this, how they do their show sometimes and everything. They were teasing up as this being like Tony Khan's big announcement, and then Tony Khan doesn't actually come out to make the announcement. Shivani just does it. So was it technically Tony Khan's announcement then? But then it's like, then they have like, 4 or 5 women there with like pre-canned promo saying about how they're going to win the belt. And I'm like, so they told everybody backstage beforehand that they were doing this before they announced the live crowd. That's kind of doesn't really make a whole lot of sense kind of shit. And everything between this America's Top Team show with Jericho is just, that's where I'm definitely looking for the remote control. I just
some people aren't really interested in it. I know. I
mean, I don't know anybody that's interested in it. It seems like, I think like the last 3 shows I've watched is that whenever they come out, dead silence. Dead silence. Nobody's reacting one way or the other. And that is the absolute worst thing for a live wrestling show.
I mean, at least they're putting Jericho in a program where there's multiple people, though, and it's just not him wrestling somebody. At least they're hiding Jericho more, which I'm okay. If you're going to put some 6-man tag or 8-man tag, we don't have to see Jericho do as much then, and that's smart. That's less of him. Let Sammy I don't really want to see Jake Hager wrestle. I'd take just about anybody over him because he doesn't even really wrestle to me. He tries. So, but at least Jericho is going to get hidden more in this scenario. And then I did think it was funny on Rampage how they had Jade Cargill just squash the girl she was fighting. So there's no chance of her botching anything. They're like, we're just going to let her squash her. So.
Yeah, she still has work to do. She's really still green.
And I
tons of potential, but.
The problem is she doesn't think she is.
I like her. She's got the look. She can talk. I like her, but she needs work. Like, she needs work in the ring. She needs to be in a developmental thing, like, all the time. She needs to be in a developmental thing for 4 months, and they're going to put this belt on her, Joe. I'm afraid they're going to put this other belt on her. I really am.
So am I.
I think she's ready. And I want her to be successful because, once again, I like her. She can't wrestle yet.
She should be wrestling a lot of the dark matches on that.
She's got Elevation and Dark, and that's it.
Yeah, she needs to be wrestling on the YouTube channel one and all that.
It's like the girl B-Fab from Hit Row. She better be a valet because she can't wrestle. She's not good either. They better not let her.
Yeah, she's green too.
Down. She's green as hell. I think that there's potential there with her too, but you can't put her in a match on SmackDown. You can put her in a dark match, but you can't put her in a match on television right now.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, they're not. They have these other shows, which, I mean, those are the shows where you put the people who aren't ready to be on live TV yet. And it seems like it seems like they have a different opinion of their talent roster than I don't want to say than everybody else, but then like what most people I think are, really kind of know their things, their stuff and everything. So I just, it's like that's what you have these other fucking shows for, is to get these people to work out their kinks, get them reps in the ring, get them to improve. And because I don't care if somebody really like, there's only so many chances you can give somebody before you have to finally say it ain't working, And I'm not saying that Jade Cargill's at that point or anything yet, but it's like, if you're going to keep putting somebody out on live TV and they're going to keep botching shit over and over and over again, at some point you got to go, it just doesn't work, So.
Yeah. Back to the drawing board, back to basics, start getting your shit back together before you're able to go back out.
I did chuckle Wednesday night when Arn was to Cody when he's like, why don't you go paint a star on your face? I chuckled.
Oh, that shit was funny.
His voice obviously is not as strong as it was 30 years ago, but Arn Anderson can still fucking talk.
Yes, he can.
Cody might be. Maybe they got Cody to buy in because I feel like Cody is the shift is starting. I feel like they are gonna turn him heel. It may be gradual, but I feel like he have bought in.
Well, he's working the smarks then, because I saw still just this week an article that the headline was Cody Rhodes, I'll die before I turn heel.
Yeah,
so.
I'm a little curious. It kind of feels like they're going the heel way, but I can see aspects where it's not gonna go in the heel direction. So kind of wait and see it on that one.
Yeah, and I watched some of his reality show there.
Right?
I watched some of his reality show there because, like I said, I dozed off and missed the end of Dynamite. And so I was sitting there watching it, and the impression I was getting was Cody doesn't seem to be very knowledgeable about life. In
He's
some
still
ways.
a big kid in certain aspects.
Yeah.
Nicole's told me that Brandy's clueless. So
his wife comes off as, she was pregnant, so it's you can probably excuse a lot of this based upon that. But she came off as being very needy, very bitchy, and insisting that she just absolutely has to go to the pay-per-view. So they have to take the bus to the place, and the bus is supposed to have a bed in the back for her because she's pregnant. And then Cody didn't order the right bus that had the bed in it and everything. And so she's pissed off at that, which, I guess, hey, if you're that pregnant and, you were your husband was supposed to do something he didn't do, I'd be pissed too. But at the same time, it's you have to go to the pay-per-view when you're this pregnant? I don't know that you do. I'm just saying.
Nicole's watched a bunch of, because Nicole likes Brandy, so she's watched stuff with her, and I've listened to she does some cooking show, she has wrestlers on and they cook stuff, and she did one with MJF, and MJF was in his head, I feel like he had to have been how does she not know what the fuck she's doing? Nicole said she's kind of an airhead. So
I'm not an airhead. I play one on TV.
She really, and again, I hate thinking this way about people and everything, but she very much comes off as being I guess the best term for it is Yoko Ono-ish. Where it's she marries a very successful man and then ingratiates herself into what he's doing, and then tries to become part of it, and then tries to start running and everything. She really comes off that way. And again, that's not a fair term, and everything. But it's the feeling that I get from watching her and listening to her. So
there was
at the same time, I feel like I can understand why these two people got together, because they share a lot of this.
There was a thing. So I watch the Being the Elite podcast every they do one, or the blog or whatever, they do one every week. So me and Nicole watch them together. And on the one this week, Silver and Reynolds from the Dark Order went up to Adam Cole, and Silver was it's all about the boobs. And Adam Cole was no, it's all about the boom. And Silver was oh, so you're not all about the boobs? And Adam Cole's no, I did not say that. I said my music is it's all about the boom. And Silver was so confused during the whole thing. It was funny that they turned all about the boom into it's all about the boobs.
All right.
Cornette did have a compliment for Omega and the Bucks, though. On when they reviewed, I think it was the first episode of the show. He had a compliment from Omega and Bucks in regards to the first episode of the Road to the Top show.
Oh,
he
really?
He said they were smart enough to make sure that their faces weren't on camera anywhere, so that they weren't.
Oh my God!
So that they weren't attached to the shit show that was that show. He said so. He said they were very smart for realizing it was going to be a shit show and did stay the fuck away from it.
Okay, so with that said, and the Cornet line out there, because we always got to hear about Cornet for some fucking reason. Anyway, God damn it.
Maybe I'll kill you, motherfucker.
I think it is time to move on to Mount Rushmore. And we do have a special Mount Rushmore for everybody this week, and we are going to list our 4. Each person is going to list their 4 favorite video games of all time. Which should be interesting because there are so many damn video games out there.
Right. Yes.
Can I ask a quick question for this?
Yeah.
Of course.
Does it have to be console video games? Can it be computer games?
No,
Any video game.
Fine. PC's fine.
Yep.
Okay, I just want another parameter, so that'll help.
Oh, well, that changes everything. You pieces of shit, because that's not what I was meant. Whatever. Fucking do what you want then. I don't give a fuck. Put PC games
I don't think Darth Pat's played enough video game consoles to have 4 that are his favorites.
No, I definitely have. I haven't played any consoles really since PS2 and GameCube.
I consider PC games video games. A lot of them come out for the PC and the video game system. So,
right,
especially now.
Back in the day, they didn't.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna go.
Yeah, if you
I'll go first.
Fuck it.
PC games
Keeping my list.
Joe's like, well, then I would have had this one on here for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not changing it now.
No, I'm not going to list any of PC games, but even though I probably would list one particular PC game, but I'll go on my list, and so I'm gonna have to go. See, and this is tough for me because I played so many different video games, and man, so game that I could and I'm listing favorite games by games that I could go back and play now and still enjoy playing.
That's fair.
So, I would have to say the original NBA Jam is definitely one. I loved playing that game. We used to have tournaments in our living room playing that fucking game.
He's on fire.
Yeah, he's on fire. I used to go so pissed off because I would get beat so bad sometimes. I'd be like, "This is fucking bullshit. My guy should be on fire." So that one is definitely. And then there's another one from the same game system, Super Tecmo Bowl. Not the original Tecmo Bowl. Super Tecmo Bowl was.
Bo Jackson.
Yeah, Bo Jackson can break any tackle, and Reggie White can break through any line. So it's awesome.
I will back you up on that. Everybody always likes to say Tecmo Bowl, and it always sounds like they're referring to the original one. And I'm like, no. Tecmo Super Bowl, the sequel, was a far superior game.
Yes. Was it Tecmo Super Bowl and not Super Tecmo Bowl? It was Tecmo Super Bowl, wasn't it?
If it was on like the original NES, it was Tecmo Super Bowl.
Yes.
Because Tecmo Super Bowl came out, it was after the 1990 season when the Giants beat the Bills in the Super Bowl. And so like the game then like it had like the whole 1991 schedule.
Yes.
So like whatever team you picked, you played their 1991 schedule and it kept the stats for the year and everything. So yeah.
Yeah, it was a far superior game because I believe it had all the teams instead of just like 8. I think there was 8 on the original.
And you had an 8-play playbook, which you could also switch. You could like switch out the plays. Whereas like the original Tecmo Bowl, I think was only a 4-play playbook, and I don't know if you could switch the plays out or anything.
No, I don't remember. I don't think you could.
Yeah, and it did not, like you said, it did not have. It did not. I don't think the original had every NFL team in the.
Bo Jackson up the middle.
Yeah.
Bo Jackson.
And it was great because if you pick the right offense, like if you pick their offense, everybody would just bust through the line and it would be like an all out blitz and nobody could get through it.
Yeah, that's like when you like correctly guess the play that your opponent picked. You could tell that was happening.
So now
I'm Super Tecmo Bowl.
Yes. Now I'm going to go a little bit newer, and I'm going to go with when I first played it was the original God of War game. That game was so good, and it was so funny because that was the first time I played a game on a game system where you didn't see anything. You just heard what you were doing with the lady in the ship. I was like, all right. That made it just that much better.
They had some interesting mini games on the God of War games that always involved ladies with boobs.
Yes.
Like there's always a mini game in the God of War games that involved naked ladies.
Yes. And then I would have to say most recently, the game that I've really enjoyed playing is really, and this kind of encompasses a couple games, but is like the Lego, like Marvel games, like the super, like not like the individual ones, but like the Lego, like Avengers Marvel game. Like there's a couple iterations of it.
There's an Avengers game, there's Lego Marvel Superheroes, and then there's Superheroes 2.
Right. So all those, like I'm kind of lumping those all into one because I really enjoy playing those. I can play those with my son, and he can play those because he likes to run around the all-inclusive map, like that monster map, and just like do stuff. Like, so it's so much fun to like play that. So those would be my 4.
Go ahead, Pat.
Bama goes down.
Is that a game?
Texas
A&M I'm just kidding.
Field goal.
Texas A&M just kicked the last-second field goal to win 41-38.
Jesus.
So
defense optional.
Yeah, baby.
So Bama just went down. Well, the polls will be interesting tomorrow.
So Georgia, Iowa, Cincinnati, 1, 2, 3.
Georgia, Iowa, Cincinnati, Oklahoma sounds like your top 4, and then God only knows who will be number 5 now because Michigan's still undefeated. They were number 9. Ohio State was 7 with 1 loss. You know, it would be interesting to see how far they drop Alabama and Penn State now. So crazy.
Right, go ahead.
All right. Yep. So, first of all, very quickly, because I know we'll run out of time after we do this segment. So, last week I promised our viewers that my beloved New York Giants.
Do we have to do this?
Yeah, we have to because we texted about this. We're going to be 0-10 come Thanksgiving, and they somehow beat the Saints last week. So I apologize for lying to you all. I will endeavor to never do that again. Anyway. Sorry, I was trying to sound like early 1998 Chris Jericho when he was turning heel and he kept on saying, I will never, ever do that again. So my top 4, my Mount Rushmore video games would be the original Legend of Zelda. I could replay that for all time. You know, just that game just never lost its fun for me. So I would have considered saying Tecmo Super Bowl because Jeremy said it. I don't want to repeat games because there's so many games out there. We can, throw things in there. I'm going to say Sid Meier's Civilization 2, which, of course, was a PC game. I still play that now when I just feel like wasting 3 hours at a time. It's the kind of game that once you get started playing, you just get wrapped up in it very quickly and you totally lose the time. That's what was always so great about that. I never took to some of the sequels as much as the second one as with that one. So, Knights of the Old Republic.
Saw that coming.
It really had to be. I felt like it had just an incredible story. It had incredible, graphics and effects and everything. I liked how they, even though it was set like, 4,000 or 5,000 years before the movies, it had a lot of familiarity to it. They took you to planets which you knew, like Tatooine and Kashyyyk, and but they also took you to planets that you never been before. So, it felt familiar but new, and everything like that at the same time. And after that, I think I'd actually have to say the original Max Payne.
That was a good game. I remember that.
I always very much enjoyed that game. Always been like a big fan of crime stories and like film noir stuff, and Max Payne is very much of those ilks. With undercover cop, betrayed, revenge story. Seeking to avenge a dead wife, femme fatales, mob, drugs, gangsters, so, and then the big corporate villains at the end of it and everything. And obviously all the bullet time stuff was just, was really so cool. And obviously, of course, they were borrowing all that from the Matrix, but it was a game that I felt like it always, really held up too. And it was always very entertaining. So I'd go with those as my 4.
Nice. All right, AJ, go ahead, buddy.
So I'm gonna Knights of the Old Republic's on my list too, so I can't not say it, even though Pat said it. It was on there. They're remastering it. I can't wait. So they're gonna re-release it. So
do you think they're gonna change anything or just remaster it?
I think they're gonna remaster it. I don't know. There's not really been a deep dive. It's just been an announcement with not a lot of follow-up yet. So
Interesting.
I think it's going to be mostly remastered. I don't know what they could tweak in it. They may tweak stuff, but I can't imagine it's going to be anything drastic. So, Knights of the Old Republic, Super Mario Odyssey for the Switch. I went all over trying to figure out what the best Mario game was I've ever played. I like pretty much every one, but Odyssey's the newest one, and they just took everything that was good about all the other ones and put it into this one. Grand Theft Auto 5. I didn't really like 4. I liked Vice City and I liked 5. So I'll say 5. And then Ocarina of Time is my favorite video game of all time. The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. So that's they're actually going to release that on the Switch here pretty soon, and I can't wait. Every time they release that game on another system, I play it. So I've probably played that game 6 times. So that's my all-time favorite game. It's been my all-time favorite game since the first time I played it. So that would be my 4.
I would say that's how it's your favorite then, if you keep playing it over and over again like that. Absolutely.
Oh, definitely so.
All right, Joseph.
All right, we'll get the first one out of the way. It's the Star Wars, same as the other two said. I played all the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic games. So that's first on my list. Second is Batman Arkham City.
Oh, that was a good one. Yeah.
Nice, Joe.
I love that game. That's a game I can play over and over again all the time. Next on my list is a good old Dreamcast game.
Oh, wow.
Which is Soul Calibur.
Oh, okay. I played that in the arcade.
Yes, they came out with that for the Dreamcast, and that game and one of the original NFL 2K1, I think it was the other game I played pretty religiously on Dreamcast. Those two coolest games for me to play on Dreamcast.
Joe likes fighting games too. Joe definitely likes fighting games.
And next on my list, the fourth one on my list is the great Nintendo 64 game GoldenEye 007.
Oh, I was waiting for you to say fucking Star Fox. I would have been like, God damn it. How did that game make the list?
that would have been in my top 5 for if you just went N64 games. But
you would say Star Fox 64 was pretty cool.
Yeah. GoldenEye was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my friends would come over, and it would be like after school all fucking weekend. We'd be playing GoldenEye and just round after round, just keep going. That game was just fucking awesome.
That was
if you like to play co-op and do all that stuff, that's a good
right. First person shooters. Yeah.
If you don't like playing with other people, that game has no appeal.
Yeah. I mean, my 2 years in Notre Dame, I mean, there were guys who were still playing that game endlessly, and it was like 3 or 4 years old at that point. So.
Oh yeah.
And it was like the first game on a console that was multiplayer first-person shooter, like you could play with your friends, and
pretty
like
much,
just, like that kind of set the going forward what the possibilities might be for cooperative playing games like that.
And here we are,
like if it was
still not doing that shit.
Yeah, it's like if it wasn't the first, it certainly felt like it was the first. It was like the one that was like the breakthrough kind of title, which, like you said, made it show like what was possible. And then, again, I'm going back to my time at Notre Dame here, which is 20 years ago now. But that was the thing that was like, that's you're on this like huge local network at the college, and so you're getting really fast internet connection. So it's so easy to go online and play all these like online multiplayer games. Like that's when like Half-Life was the big thing, and then like all the video games that were built off of Half-Life, like Counter-Strike, which I played endlessly.
Doom actually was, as far as I know, was the first online multiplayer game, because we used to play that when I was at the job that I worked right out of Lincoln Tech. That was like 1997. I was playing that game on a local network.
Doom was a couple of years before like Half-Life and Counter-Strike, like I said, as far as I remember. Nobody really seemed to be playing Doom anymore. At least not that I saw. Like that wasn't one that people got me into, because everybody was like, "Oh, have you played this one yet? Or have you played this one? We got like our own local thing, because that's what you do when you're in college with no buffer right above you and everything." Is like people get you to start playing games against each other. And the problem was, of course, the first year I was there, I had such an old shitty computer that I was like the one that had like the worst connection and everything. So I was always the one that was getting killed more easily than everybody else.
Loser.
So so basically that's the way it began. Like if we like started a game like amongst like 6 or 7 people like in the hall or whatever, and you got killed by me, that was like a very shameful
wow
badge of dishonor.
That killed me. Oh my god, what the fuck was I doing?
Yeah, it's like, how the hell did that happen? It's like, well, you turn the corner, and as soon as I saw you, I hit you with the double barrel shotgun to the head. I mean,
I have I do have an honorable mention on mine.
Oh, okay. Honorable mention. What would you like to put up there, sir?
The game for the original Xbox, Playboy Mansion.
I thought you were going to say Leisure Suit Larry.
There was a Playboy Mansion game for the original Xbox?
Oh, yes, there was.
There's a shocker, and Joe knew about it.
I did not know that. I was going to say, we're talking about dirty games. The dirtiest game I ever really heard of was this really old game that I think was only ever released on like one of the very old Atari systems, which was called Custer's Revenge.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that one.
Yeah, it's very possibly the most offensive game ever made.
Playboy Mansion was awesome. You started off at the bottom, and you had to work your way up to Hugh Hefner level, and you had to go to photo shoots and take photos and create, covers for Playboy magazines, and you got to like try to, get girlfriends and move up the ladder. And there was, a cave that had like a hot tub and a pool in there, and you got to hook up with the girls. And yeah, they blurred stuff out. But yeah, it was a fun game.
I remember hearing about that game.
And they had a commercial for that game too. That's the crazy part. They actually advertised that game. It was that commercial. I was like, "Ooh, we got a Playboy game. I'm buying that shit."
The first time anybody played Grand Theft Auto, you went and got a hooker and took her in the car and watched the car bounce up and down, and then you shot her and took your money back.
And now, Grand Theft Auto 5, you could just sit there and you rub your hands on her booty and all that shit.
Yeah.
And then the bouncer comes by and you got to stop so you don't get caught by the bouncer. Yeah, it's awesome.
Which Grand Theft Auto was that? Was that the very first one, or was it that
Vice City was I think Vice City was the first one. You could buy the prostitute and the car would bounce up and down. And
I think you could do that in 3, because I played 3 and I don't know if I ever played Vice City. I don't remember.
I couldn't tell you which one came out first, so
Well, 3 was before Vice City. But I don't.
Yeah,
I just can't remember. I can't remember. I can't remember for sure if you could do that in 3. That's what it comes down to.
I know you could do it in Vice City. So
yeah.
Well, anybody out there listening, feel free to drop a comment and let us know if you could do that in Grand Theft Auto 3.
I remember what Lewis Black always said his favorite thing to do in Grand Theft Auto 3 was run over the person whose car I just stole with the car I just stole.
Those games were like
Sometimes
the most
it happens.
messed up games possible, and they still are. Like they're still the most messed up.
I mean,
And
I
it's a big
still play it.
sandbox. It's a big sandbox game. I mean, Arkham City that Joe said, like, I like those big sandbox games where you have a big map and you have to go do missions, like Red Dead Redemption, and like there's a lot of them. Grand Theft Auto kind of laid the groundwork for it, though.
Yeah, it's just it's crazy because my nephews will play it. Now they play with the sound off, but they still play those games, so you're still running around murdering people and doing shit like that. It's
that's the first game and I like to, like, when I play a game, I have a purpose. Like, I'm trying to beat this game so I can move to the next game. Grand Theft Auto was one of the few games where I did just go get a tank, sit somewhere, and just blow shit up. How many cop cars can I blow up? How many helicopters can I blow up before they arrest me?
I want to own a squadron of tanks.
And the crazy thing about Grand Theft Auto now is you could do the online stuff and there's DLCs for the online and the console version, but on the PC, there's like communities now where you're like police officers and you go around chasing bad guys, and you could be you can have a gang as bad guys and go around and like stealing stuff. Twitch, they're all over Twitch that have these communities now, and people, get on their mics, they hook up. Oh, we got a code red or where the fuck the cop shit is, stuff, and they hop in their cop cars and they drive over there and they're arresting people and doing all kinds of shit. There was a guy dressed up as being a mayor and everything. It's crazy.
Like Vice City was not a huge map, but then San Andreas came out and that was a huge map.
I remember San Andreas.
They changed everything because then you could have girlfriends and there was all these side things you could do. There was all these like games and like they did it, and everybody else now has like hybrided it into something else.
I remember being at your house and playing San Andreas with you.
So
you're like, Jeremy, you got to play this game. It's so fun. I'm like, come on, okay.
What about Manhunt? Remember Manhunt? Did you play that with me? That's the one where you were sneaking around killing people, but that was a fucked up game. That was like
that one.
Dirty.
I don't.
Yeah, that game was bad because you could like cut people's heads off with like Garrett wire and stuff. Like it was all about murdering people and the craziest way possible.
Oh man, that was a fun episode. I must say, we had quite a bit of fun and good conversation. But with that, we do have to say goodnight. We just want to always thank everybody for watching us live on Facebook, or if you're catching it on YouTube in a replay, thank you for watching it there. If you're catching us on an audio version, whether that is through Apple Podcasts, you're catching us on Amazon Music, Pandora, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, wherever you're catching us, thank you for tuning in and listening. And, always feel free to engage us. You can come to our Facebook page, Four Guys Roundtable Show. You can drop us a comment there. You can request, hey, if you got a question you want to ask us, more than happy to answer those questions for you. We'd love to have some, questions thrown at us. We'll see what you guys are wondering about, either us, the show, or a topic that you'd like us to talk about. Drop us a question right there on Four Guys Roundtable Show on Facebook. We'll answer your questions. We have no problem doing that. You may not like the answer you get, but you're going to get an answer at least, You
can ask Pat out on a date. Be my guest.
Yes. Yes, we had any lovely ladies out there, they can ask Pat out on a date.
I also will go with the strong bad method, as it were. You ask us your questions, I'll make fun of your punctuation and spelling.
That's a good way to get yourself a date, Pat. Good job.
Pat does that to me all the time.
Lady, you do not use that comma in the proper functionality of what a comma is supposed to be used for.
I wasn't saying anything about getting a date, and I didn't say I'd be a prick about, correcting your punctuation and spelling. Just that I'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, now Pat will definitely continue to be dateless. We love you, Pat.
Hey, I'll say this.
Oh boy.
I may be overweight and fat and all that other shit, but relative to my height and his height, I say Chris Jericho looks fatter than me these days.
I haven't seen Chris Jericho in a while, so I'll take your word for it. All right. So as always, we say good evening, good morning, good afternoon, and we'll catch you on the next episode.